Perfect. All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's Dr. Glow with Black Girl Everything. I am so excited for this morning to be here with you all to share space, to just be with power, right? And be with powerful women, people who are focused on winning in this winning season, because everybody's winning season is always right now. It's about you obtaining it and holding it and living it and being it. So as you saw before, up on the screen was just to ask you to put your information inside the chat. I will be saving the chat and later on be sharing this information back out to others. So we're going to get started very shortly for this morning, but the icebreaker we're going to get into is going to be talking about vacationing. I want you to think about that, but hold it because I want to focus on grounding. We all don't take moments to actually sit with ourselves and sit with the energy around the space. My name is Glow, and one of my biggest things about that is me being the light that I am and standing in that space as who I am as the light. So the grounding exercise is a very basic thing that's on YouTube. There's plenty of 5-minute meditations that you can do. So before we even get started today and really getting to know each other and sharing the rest of our names and all that information, I want to make sure we're all in the same space and within the same energy. Okay, so I'm gonna go back off camera. I'm gonna set something up for you all just for you to be comfortable and just relax, and let's embrace the positive energy that we're going to create today.
Invite your body to get into whatever position it wishes, lovingly closing your eyes when you're ready. Inviting the awareness to be present with breath and body. Slowing everything down right now. If thoughts come and go, just let them. Center your focus on breath and body, as if that's enough for right now. On your next inhale, breathe in extra deeply as you affirm to yourself, I am so grateful for this body. Hold your breath at the top, and when you're ready, let it go with a sigh. Powerfully releasing the air, relaxing into your physical form, and returning the breath to whatever pace feels best. You begin to envision a spiral of golden light emerging from the soles of your feet. It begins to spiral around your body, creating an egg shape as it rises all around you, spiraling in brilliant golden glittering light until it reaches the top of your head. Trust how your imagination shows you being wrapped up in these golden threads of light. Feel how this energy continues to circulate and flow as if it is in an ever-flowing spiral. And the sparkling, refreshing energy that it emits flows through your personal experience, as well as out into the room around you. And if you're outside, it flows into the immediate space around you. Trust how you experience this. More importantly, trust how you feel it. Feel yourself being nurtured in this spiraling golden light, this egg-shaped home for you, just for now, holding you, uplifting you, nurturing you energetically. For your next 3 breaths, invite the exhale to be twice as long as the inhale. Flow at whatever pace feels best to you. Enjoy this energy as long as you wish, continuing to breathe this way even longer if that feels right to you. However, if you're ready to come out of this practice, do so by taking one giant breath right now, stomach and ribcage fully expanding, holding your breath when you reach the top, feeling and sensing all of that golden light energy flowing into your heart, holding it there. And as you exhale powerfully, feel that golden light scattering throughout your physical form, lighting you up from the inside out. And when you're ready, open your eyes back to the world around you.
All right, everybody. How's everybody feel? Everybody feel that energy shift? All right, wonderful. So now we got that out the way. We're all centered. Now we actually can get started and we can actually have some fun here. So our icebreaker for this morning is one of the most favorite things that I love talking about is vacation, right? Getting out, being places. I see Janine is on vacation right now in her background, right? About getting out into the space and enjoying life or what life may be. So we're going to kind of go around the space and people can share about where they like to go vacation and why they want to go to that particular location. Especially with our panelists, I would like you all to start. So Sharky, can you please set us off? Where do you like to go vacation, my love?
Oh my gosh, I'm thinking black sand beaches. On my 30th birthday, I had the opportunity to go to a pink sand beach in Bermuda and just learning that sand is different colors in different places. So off the top of my head, I'm thinking about Fiji and what does black sand feel like? How does it hold heat? How does it feel? Is it rough? Is it smooth? Yeah.
Behind you, you're going to see a book and papers fell all down me and bring it.
All right, everybody's muted. All right, perfect. Thank you, Sharky. Let's go with Princess. What do you got?
So my favorite destination is Jamaica. I love going there. I love seeing people that look like me, that just smiling, happy, good energy. And I realize now I like to go warm places. If you want to take me on a vacation, no, I don't want to do anywhere cold. I don't want to wear a coat. I don't want to be freezing. I want to have the sun on me, and I want to be somewhere like. And I'm not a beach person in New Jersey. You will never catch me go to a beach anywhere in the United States. Take me out the country. I am on the beach. I'm in the sand. I'm in the water. Which is weird, but yes. So Jamaica and anywhere warm.
All right, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, Princess. Let's go with Keisha.
Good morning, y'all. Princess, you sound like my mom, my Jamaican mom. She's like, I will not touch U.S. waters. No. Um, I think for myself, I'm really crushing on the East African coast right now. I love having new experiences when I vacation though too. And I have to say the last time I was in Kenya, just a lot of newness and just access to luxury in a way that I can't say I have access to here in the US. So I highly recommend 10 out of 10.
You keep on recommending to me because I'm going. I'm out of here. All right, Eva, what you got?
Yeah, so I love new experiences too. And even though, so my knee-jerk reaction was Jamaica, but I also have a home there. So I feel like I can't say that, even though it's great. My girlfriend, who's also Jamaican, swears by Bali. So that's where I'm looking forward to going. And I'm with you, Princess. Don't take me anywhere cold. That's not a vacation. Why would I do that? Ever. I moved to Jamaica so I wouldn't have to be cold. So Bali, we're looking forward to it.
That's wonderful. Tiffany?
Well, I love vacationing, so I love this question. I spend a lot of time vacationing in the Caribbean simply because I'm Caribbean and Latin American. I would love to travel to Seychelles. That's my plan for next year. I like the idea of beaches. I would love to be able to visit Africa. I have never been, so I am super excited about that adventure.
Yeah, definitely dope. Janine, since you seem like you're on that beautiful island over there, talk to us. Where do you want to go?
Not just yet, but I will be in a couple of days. So currently heading to Puerto Rico for the first time. But like Princess, I love Jamaica. I only been there once, but I keep saying I can't wait to get back there. So I'm planning to go back to Jamaica. But I also, hearing what some of the ladies have said here, I'm gonna put those on my list as well. But yeah. So
Great.
Jamaica's my favorite place.
Yeah, Puerto Rico is one of my favorite places.
Hopefully it'll become one of mine too. It'll be my first
Yeah,
time going.
it's
So
a beautiful island. It's a
I
beautiful island.
hear.
Definitely. All right, how about Caprice? Talk to us, Caprice. Where do you like to go?
Good morning, everyone. I don't have a specific place I would like to go, but like Princess, I love the warm weather, hot weather, I should say. The last place I went was Carousel. I loved it. It was very peaceful, learning new culture. And I would love to go back.
Perfect. Miss Vanessa Moore.
Good morning, everybody. I love warm weather just like everybody else. I'm a beach person, love the beach. This summer I am going to Antigua, which that's where my family's from, and I have not been back in 4 years. So I'm going there this summer. It's one of my favorite places to be, of course, but I would love to visit Greece. Really love to go to Greece. Like as far as the other side, like really going overseas, that's the only place I would want to go is Greece.
Yeah, those pictures look really cool.
When are you going to Antigua? I'm going there as well. July 4th through the 9th.
Oh, I'm going later in the month for Carnival.
Oh, okay.
All right, Stacy.
Hello, all beautiful people. I would like to go. I just want to experience culture. So I think of peaceful culture. I think of Africa. I think of Hawaii. I don't want to take the tourist way. It needs to be warm because I need to wear shorts. I need to feel free. I don't want to be constricted by too much clothes, but I want to feel the people. I want to eat the foods. I want to feel the love. I want to interact. So it can be anywhere.
All right. Okay. Okay. Farah? You may still begin set up a little bit. Oh, she's there. Go ahead.
Hi, yes. This is a great question. I don't have any place specific in mind. I really just want to travel the world and, like you said, Stacy, just feel the people and try the food and experience the culture. So I have like a long bucket list of places, but maybe the first place I want to go visit is Paris. Probably
Paris.
out of the country, yeah.
Nice, nice. Oh, Saruman.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I do, like the other lady said, I do have a long bucket list. Jamaica is on the top of the list. I have to go back to my family's country, which is Barbados, and I would like to do Hawaii and Bahamas. So yes, I do have a long bucket list, and it's not only, I do like, the Caribbean, but it's not only the Caribbean I want to see. I do want to see Greece and Paris and France and stuff like that. So yeah, traveling the world.
Cool. Miss Lisa, where you want to go? Knowing her, she set her phone down. That happens to be my wife, y'all. She's probably not even next to her phone at this moment. All right, love you, babe. But anyway, I want to know what she wants me to take her. That's honestly why I asked that question. Oh, there she goes.
No, I'm here.
Okay, where you
Anybody
want to
that
go?
knows me knows I have a hard time maneuvering this Zoom situation. I actually am a person big on going anywhere. I enjoy nature and I enjoy just the beauty of architecture and things like that. So I'm fine in the cold if I'm sitting in the mountains. I'm fine on the beach if I'm near the trees. I'm fine going somewhere like Egypt to see the pyramids. All of those things really intrigue me. People's the level of intellect to build and also just the beauty of nature. So I'm kind of a person who's willing to go anywhere as long as there's something I can learn or experience. That's it.
Thanks, babe. Such a great answer. All right, so I can take her anywhere and she'll be happy. Yeah. Hey. All right. So thank you all for sharing your greatest vacations. I kind of mirror Lisa. I love going anywhere. I would sit in snow and in the woods. I would experience those things, but I'm a summer baby. I was born in July. So beaches and water are my most favorite place to be everywhere and anywhere. It's all about the culture. It's also about the food. I'm a big foodie. I love to eat. So I need to be somewhere where people can cook just a little bit. I'm willing to try something at least once. At least once. I will try it once. May not try it again ever again in my life, but at least once I'll do it. But thank you all for your input on that, on cool places to go on vacation. Because vacation, as I wrote into me in my section on talking about the key to successful leading is about leading yourself. And I started this morning off with that. And the key thing is about how are you in tuning with who you are as an individual and what that looks like. But before I go into that a little bit more, let's talk about the layout of the day today for the conference. All right. So it's going to start off with me, as I like calling them rants, because I like that word, for myself about 20 minutes. We talk about different things about leading, when, and everything else. And I'll tell you why I chose to talk about that in a minute. Then we're going to go into a nice, lovely panel with our panelists who are with us today, who is the beautiful Tiffany, Eva, Keisha, Sharky, Farah, and Princess, who will be with us on the panel. I'm going to ask a number of questions and just learn about them and within their winning season. In a minute, they'll be going through giving their introductions as well. We have some fun games we're actually going to play today where there's going to be prizes, because you guys know I love giving stuff away. Love it. I love it. I live for it, right? Because I love a good challenge. I found some really cool games we're going to play. And then we're also going to have a section to go out into breakout rooms. I was going to talk about that briefly so people get their mind right. For people who don't really understand Zoom, I'm not going to be assigning you to your rooms. The rooms are going to be at the bottom of your screen. You'll be able to click on a button that says breakout rooms. You'll see the names of all the different presenters, and you'll be able to go and share the space with them. Now, the space time is, I have it set for about 30 minutes. And that means you also don't have to stay in there very long. You can go from each space. You can kind of go in, ask a question. You can share space with different presenters. You can move in and out. in and out of the rooms. They're in there really just to be present with you. So whatever you talk about is what you talk about. At this point, you can talk about your favorite sandwich. It's really about you just taking advantage of the individual. And also you'll be triggered by some thoughtful questions once we go through the panel, because we want to hear a lot about their stories. And you can see about what I want to know more about that individual. So that's basically how we're going to go through the flow of the day. We will have a movement break in the middle so people can kind of get up and move around. So please, at any point in time that you're not actively asking something, please you can keep your cameras on the whole time. That's fine by me, but you could also just make sure you remain muted so we're not getting any background sounds. If your kid comes running in your room asking for a sandwich randomly, those things kind of happen because we are recording at this moment. So I want to thank you all for that. And again, thank you all for being present this morning. It is a Saturday, and I'm happy to have you all here in this space with me this morning. So again, my name is Dr. Glow. Yes, I am actually a doctor of education. Did everybody really know first when you heard that doctors are like doctors of education, doctors of philosophy, doctors of other things? People didn't know that. You know how many people I meet on a day-to-day basis? Like, you're a doctor of what? What type of medicine do you do? No, I'm actually a doctor of education. It's like, really? There's doctors like that? Yes, and I'm one of them. There's doctors that do a lot of different things, right? So, and it becomes an educational moment for my people overall, because it tends to be my people who tend not to understand that. But to be really honest with you, I didn't know until I was maybe in college that I got it. And I was just like, oh, that's what that means? Because my assumption was clearly that if you were a doctor, is that you dealt with blood, you worked in a hospital, and you did those different things. But then it got to the point where I say it a lot out loud to people, and I own the fact that I'm a doctor, because a lot of individuals just don't know that you can be doctors in different ways. And just having a skill set that you understand a bunch of information about something. That's all it really is. I've been educated with a bunch of information about education. So I was able to get a doctorate degree, which I'm very proud to have, right? My second part of my doctorate degree is actually in transformational leadership. I love being a leader. For those of you who know me for a long time, you also know that I am the oldest of 15 siblings between my parents. Yes, because my mom had 13, my father had 2, right? So like 15 total of us. And then I married Lisa, so I have more siblings over there. So I have a lot of brothers and sisters. There's about 30 of us. So it's great to have that many siblings, people to work with and love on and be with and share space with all the time. So it happens in that way. So leadership has always been my thing, especially being number one, being the first child born. You realize in most families, you end up being one of the parents in the household. And of course, that was definitely my life. I grew up not in one of you consider a wealthy situation. I lived in shelters, I've went to the store with food stamps. Like, I had that book. I lived that life. I was part of that culture. Like, I was out there. I went and sat in the DSS office with my mother because they had to prove that I was really a person. I've had those experiences. I've experienced divorce. I experienced a lot of stuff that our community experiences on a day-to-day basis. But after all of this, the key word is that I was still able to win. Right? And it's about how do we take those challenges and those moments that we experience in our life and change them into leading us and supporting us to getting to the next level. So for me, one of the first rules I always tell people is accept your experience, because your experience is everything. Your experience is what you are going to take you to get you to the next level. And your experience is what makes you unique. Like, I have all those siblings, right? In my mother's house, there was 13 of us who have grown through the process of living in her house. We are all different individuals. Only one who looks just like me is my sister Veronica, but we are 2 totally different people. She's a little bit taller, a little bit thicker, and she has a sassier, more mouth than I do. But we're 10 years apart, but we look exactly alike. And everybody's like, oh, that's your twin. I'm like, yeah, but we're still different individuals. It doesn't matter, same father, same mother, same household, but everybody ends up being different because my experience and my perspective of how I grew up is different from her experience and her perspective, because she had 3 older siblings who were there to support her. There was no one necessarily there for me, right? So I had to navigate and figure out certain things with just my first sister, who was my best friend, who was right next to me. We were only a year apart. We were brought up as we're twins, dressed all alike. Did you know my mother had me in walking shoes when I was 5 years old? I'm very traumatized by that. I see this picture. I was 5 years old in those hard bottom white walking shoes. Like, what were they thinking about in 1985? I really don't know. Why was I wearing that? And I ask her that question all the time, Mom. Like, Mom, I knew how to walk for like a long time. Why at 5 did I have on hard bottom walking shoes? Please, can you answer that for me? She still does not have an answer because I don't have an answer. And I wore mad headbands because she said my forehead was big. My forehead is not even that big. Like, it was always pictures in those stupid walking shoes and headbands. Like, Mom, really? But I appreciate her for it, because I can walk really well now. I guess she really structured my ankles from when I ran track. I don't know what the benefits was of that, but it's okay. I live with it. But I said that to say that being the individual that you are and experiences that you have are what have brought you to there and what actually makes you able to lead successfully within this world. Because you have to sit back and really think about those moments in your life that have shifted your life and learn to appreciate every single one of them. Because we all have those things like, why did my parents do that? Why did this happen this way? Why did I have to go through this? Why did I have to go through that? Because it made you who you are today. All the hard parts, all the rough days, nothing was put in front of you that was not meant to be there. Every single roadblock you have experienced your whole entire life was put there to make you who you are today. And it's about valuing those moments and realizing that, oh, wow, this is who I am. This is why I am who I am, right? This is why I'm able to go through and get through adversity and figure it out. It is why, somebody like me was able to figure out how I had to leave Temple University with only 14 credits left and not graduate, right? To take life and then figure it out and then go back to school and start all over again with another bachelor's degree, right? And get through and then get my master's and then get my doctorate and then figure out why I'm still not in school now, because I probably go to school every 5 minutes because I'm a lifetime learner. That's what I do. But I know that the fact that I always had to figure out how to win as a child is what gets me to the point where I'm able to push through what I'm able to push through now. And I'm grateful for those experiences. I'm grateful for having to figure out how to work at 14 and provide for myself, because my mom really didn't have it. My dad was a recovering addict. He was around. But if you have grown up with a recovering addict, you know that maturity wise, my father, who now is 60, going to be 63 years old, I swear he's still about 19. Still to this day, he's about 19 years old is when he really started getting really high, and he's just stuck there, and so I had this teenage father at 14, 15 years old, where maturity wise, we were at the same level. So what energy or information was I really going to get from him? Even my mother, she struggled with drugs and everything else. But what am I able to really get from my parents, besides the fact that I knew that they loved me, but they didn't really have the tools to provide everything I needed to win at that point in my life? I had to gain a lot of those tools for myself. I absorbed a lot of energy from my loved ones around me, from my aunts, from my uncles, I had some great people in my family that navigated towards us and held us up. That's why I guess for me, I'm like, being a super auntie is so important. It's so important for me to be a super auntie because I know that the aunts and uncles that I had in my life saved my life in so many different ways. They were there to take me different places. They owned homes, right? They had jobs, they had careers, right? My uncle, one of my favorite uncle, my Uncle Doug, one of my favorite people in the whole wide world, he owned businesses, right? And the thing that I learned from him was that him owning these businesses and having everything else made me realize that I want to be an entrepreneur as well. I want to thrive, and at the same way that he thrived, right? I want to be able to have these things. I want to be able to take my kids on vacation. I wanted to do this. And that's one of the first reasons why I became an entrepreneur. I told his wife, my Aunt Danielle, one of her favorite people that I knew, she always asked me, so when you go to school, what are you going to do, Glo? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? You can do whatever you want. And I said at 16, I'm going to be a doctor. And she was like, you want to do medicine? I said, no, but I'm just going to be a doctor. And at that point, I didn't even know that I could be a doctor of education still at that age. I didn't know that yet. But I knew at that early age, I was going to be who I was going to be. And I held on to those goals well through my 30s and when I became a doctor at 37 years old. So, it's all really about how we move through this world and understand that everything that we've gotten was put there on purpose. And that's my first thing I want you all to understand, is that take in those experiences, take in that life, and realize that it's what made you who you are today. And it's okay. There's nothing wrong with any aspect of it. Doesn't matter if you've been through divorce. I was in a relationship for 12 years. I got in a relationship, I was 21 and stayed there until I was about 32-ish. It was a long time in a bad space. right? And I didn't thrive, I wasn't growing and everything else. But I appreciate that relationship because it showed me how to be so much better as a human being, right? It showed me for this relationship on how to be so much of a better mother, a better friend, a better person, a better daughter, a better sister, a better aunt. Like I learned all those things through that relationship, through that time. So I appreciate that time that I spent there, even though it was traumatic and crazy. But it was necessary because it was what I needed to wipe away a lot of experiences that I had from my childhood. I had to go through it as an adult and see it from a different angle to realize that's not the life that I want. And I have the life that I have now, which I love so much on a day-to-day basis. So just embrace your past. That's the first thing to say. Well, embrace your past, because when you're talking about leading yourself, you have to know who you came from and where you came from and what those experiences mean from you, and then acknowledge those experiences for what they can be for you today. That's my first nugget for you all. Embrace your past. Okay. So self-care. Everybody talks about self-care, 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 right? We hear it all the time, taking care of yourself, making sure you're doing what you have to do. I'm a very scheduled individual. People look at me like I'm crazy. They're like, okay, so you have a nonprofit, you have your LLC, you run this school, you run that school, you do this and you do that. But guess what? I also choose me, right? I choose me very often. Being here in this space today was with mindful of what's going on in my family and with my friends and everything else like that. I also had to choose myself in this moment. And it was okay for me to make that choice because I'm important and I matter, and what I experience in the world matters, and what I provide to the world matters. So I got to make sure sometimes I'm here and I'm present to give those opportunities to other individuals as well and share my light, right? And share my energy and share my power, and share my force and share just anything, because you never know what you can get out of an experience. So I think that people sometimes we learn not to choose ourselves because we get so stuck in having to choose others all the time. One of the biggest things for me was being the oldest. I was always responsible, constantly responsible. It was my mom. My mom had 13 kids, right? So 5 were with my father and 8 were with my stepfather. My father, as I told you, he was out there, he was selling drugs. He was big shine in Mount Vernon. He was out here doing it big. And so he was there. He was there as a dad, right? But was he really there? No, not really. He just came to my baseball games. He came to my cheerleading matches. He was there for the most part, but he wasn't really necessarily there all the time. So with my siblings, I had to raise a lot of them. We moved a lot. My mom couldn't keep up with bills and certain stuff like that. So we were evicted every 18 months. If we were lucky, we stayed somewhere for 18 months as a child. So we didn't find stability until I was 15. So my mom went into a shelter. Then she got Section 8. That's when stability of housing came from my mother. Otherwise, my first 15 years of my life, we were all over the place. It was never consistent, right? So I say that to say that I was always there having to take care of my brothers and sisters. My mom would get pregnant a lot and then would hide it, like we don't see it, and not say anything. And then all of a sudden she would disappear on me and my sister and not come home, and then leave us there with like 3, 4, or 5 kids. Right. And we had to figure it out. So we weren't going to school. We would say, okay, so we know mom left. We knew what was going on. Me and Nene would look at each other. My sister's not a sister who really communicates a lot. So we give each other the eye. Okay, we know what's happening now. So let's go clean the room. We know there's another baby coming home. And let's make sure everybody else gets to school, that we give them dinner, that we do everything we have to do. And that went on with my life all the way until I was 21 years old. And I left at 18, went to school, never really went back. But one of the business I had at 21 when she had her last kids was the twins. And I was just like, and I didn't even live here anymore. I lived in Jersey. And I came back and I was like, dragged right back into my childhood at 21 for the last time, when my mom she disappeared. She had the kids in the house at that point. And then she was gone for like a week and a half. So I had to call my job in Jersey. I can't come back because I got to stay here for my brothers and sisters. Still in my 20s, I was still experiencing the same life that I was already experiencing from like 9, 10 years old, right? So it's like, for a long time from my life, I just was so trained not to choose me first. It was always about what everyone else needed. And obviously I learned that from when I was really, really young, not to choose myself, right? To always give, 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 give. And it wasn't honestly really until recently that I came to grips and came to terms with that. I was just giving and giving and giving and taking from my own life, that I was just giving it away to everyone else, right? And it showed up even more with my kids, you know, just showing up for them and just being there for them and just giving them all of my energy. And showing up in my relationships, for just giving to my partners, giving to my partners, giving to my partners, and not necessarily giving to myself. And then one day I realized once I started really taking for me, I became even better. When I started taking space just for me, was turn like, no, I'm going to the gym this morning. You can get her to school. We'll figure it out. I'll do bath time later. You do this now, right? So I go to the gym 4 days a week. You know, I take space in my office. I close my office door to individuals. I'm like, no, this is my time. No, I'm knocking on your door. Don't knock on my door right now. This is my time for me. And I just sit there and like listen to music. I play games on my phone. I take these timeouts throughout the day because it's important for me to choose me, even in my workspace, right? And I think that we get so caught in that, oh, I'm at work, I can't do that. Then how are you going to be successful? Go for walks. We did the mindfulness exercise because that was 5 minutes. Do you know how recentered and refocused you can be after 5 minutes of relaxing? Because it felt like a long time, didn't it? It felt like I was in it. I was in a space. I was in a zone. But that was only 5 minutes of your life. So why aren't you consistently taking that 5 minutes just to focus on you? Why are you not putting your phone on do not disturb from a Friday to a Sunday? Why are you not staying off of social media for 24 to 48 to 36, 72 hours? One of the best choices I made when I went to Mexico last year for a week with my family. And last year I hustled hard. I was grinding hard, like back-to-back events. I was doing all these different things. I took over the school. It was crazy. It was back to back. And then what I did was I turned off my phone for a week in Mexico. There was no social media. There was nothing. I think I turned it on once because I felt really cute and I took one selfie and put it on Instagram. I turned it on once. That was it. And Lisa was constantly telling me, like, baby, where's your phone so you take pictures? I said, I'm not turning my phone on. She's like, but I gotta take all the pictures. No, I'll take the pictures with your phone, but I'm not touching my phone. Like I left it off. I disconnected. It was so great. I felt so clear. I felt so connected with my kids. You know, my in-laws were there. And then I randomly ran into my uncle dog who happened to be in the same resort in Mexico at the same time. And I didn't even know he was going to be there. Right. So I spent all this time with family and connecting and conversations and spending time with my little cousins and my kids, completely detached from the world. And it was amazing. I task you all on your next vacation, try it. Detach yourself. Don't answer your emails. Don't check anything. Don't be present for anybody else. Be present for yourself. And take those moments that gives yourself some grace to actually just live and to be there and to love and tell you, just be there for you, because you can't get to your winning season if you're not winning for yourself first. And that's what it is. It's really about leading yourself, because you can't lead anybody else, because you have to lead all aspects of your life. I'm doing these weekly these sessions on Google every single week. And I'm evolving as I'm going through these processes. And one of the key things that I've come through from doing these free workshops that I'm doing is that your whole life, you're an entrepreneur of your life. Let's just forget about you're an entrepreneur of your business or you're an entrepreneur of this. You're an entrepreneur of your whole life. Your whole life. You manage your whole life. You are in complete control of your whole life. So how are you not thinking about your life as a business? And that means leading your partner, leading your husband, leading your wife, leading your kids, leading your friends. You have to lead through in all aspects of that, because figure if you have everyone's leading, then you have a powerful team. Because people say, oh, this whole chief and Indian idea. No, everybody needs to be a chief of their own life. Nobody needs to be following you in their life. They need to be in control of their life. So if you have people who are next to you, who are sharing that space and that same level of power, because everybody's leading, that's how we get to the next level. That's how we thrive, right? Because individuals are standing up for themselves, they're choosing themselves, and they're doing what's great for them. Because if everybody in your household, say you have 2, 3, 4, 5, 15 kids, and everybody's powerful, everybody's leading, you know how much the world can shift and change within that energy? It's dramatic. But if people are not standing up for themselves within the space, and you're not especially encouraging your children to lead, then what are they doing? They're going to follow you for the rest of their life? Where are they going to get to? Where are they going to get to? They need to be able to lead their own lives successfully. And that's the point of being a parent, is to sit here and teach them to be their own little entrepreneurs, however they may look. Entrepreneurs are controlling their educational experiences, right? Entrepreneurs are picking their first jobs, right? And getting those work experiences, that getting that, building that work ethic, which is going to help them be successful. And hopefully as entrepreneurs, you teach them how to be entrepreneurs for real and starting their own businesses and creating new nonprofits and organizations that are ultimately going to save lives in the future, because that is the real goal. Yes, Stacey, teaching them to thrive, because how do we thrive? Because thriving comes from multiple streams of income. It does not come from one. As we all know, because once that one stream goes away, what are you going to do? You're stuck, right? So we have to have multiple streams. So in order, again, to lead others successfully, you have to lead yourself, right? You need to understand that you're an entrepreneur of your own life, and everybody else around you needs to be entrepreneurs. And, you know, my last thing that I'm going to talk on with you all is your circle, right? Because your network is your net worth, right? Who you surround yourself with is going to determine how successful you will ever be. Because if you don't surround yourself with the right people, you're not going to get the right energy that you need to get where you need to go. So if you're sitting here in this moment, it's like, my business is stuck. I'm not moving. Nothing's growing. It's because of people you hanging out with. Stop hanging out with them. It's okay. And it might be your family. Stop chilling with them. Sunday dinners, yes, because love matters. Connection matters. But they ain't got to be the ones on your phone every day. You need to get yourself a great group chat with some people who want to speak life into you every single morning. People who you can call when you think you're about to fall down, who are going to drag you right back up with them. People who you know when you need something, they're going to show up no matter what for you, however that may be. It might show up with this in there saying, like, listen, I don't understand how to do this on Canva. Oh, girl, when you want me to come over, you got some wine, I will show you. Those are the people that you need to have in your life, not people who don't know nothing either. Because how do you expect yourself to know more stuff if you hang around people who don't know, who know less than you? And how does that even work? How does that even work? My thing was, I was in a situation within my family around me where they didn't know. Most people in my family right now, I know a lot, but a lot of them know a lot with me, right? But when I was growing up, they really didn't know a lot. My grandparents really didn't know a lot. And that's why I didn't have access to certain things, because that key word is access. And this is what this opportunity, this Winners Conference is about today, is about providing access to you all, providing space for you to be able to understand where we're going, providing space for you to know that there's information and people out there who know different stuff. That's why with this panel of women that I put together, they all know something different. They're all super duper cool in a different way. And that's why I'm so happy to chill with them this morning with me. That's why I'm recording this, because I'm probably going to watch myself speak later, because I think I'm really cool. And then a lot of stuff I'm saying, I'll probably not remember I even said, right? Because I make it up. I don't write scripts. I just talk, literally. This is all coming off the top of my head in the moment, right? So I'm going to have to watch it later so I remember what I said so I can repeat it at some point in time in my life. But, and I say that to say that you have to surround yourself with a cool network. Your network is who is going to get you to where you need to go. And being in spaces with individuals who are powerful, being in spaces with individuals who know stuff, get to these rooms, go to these things, go on Eventbrite and find random events and just show up and go by yourself. Don't worry about somebody coming with you, because somebody may not come with you because they ain't got it. And I'm not even talking about monetary wise. They may not got it. All right. They may not get while you're saying, like, listen, I'm going to go, like right now I was telling a friend I'm showing up in Houston because they told me they're moving to Houston. They're like, you going to Houston? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to Houston because if I open this spot, I got to go sit there because I love her energy. Right. And then I was like, okay, so I knew I was going to Houston. So now I was looking up and there's an actual Black Book Expo that'll be there in October. So I'm actually coming to see her. So I was like, I'm going to book this event. I'm coming to her space. And now I have a friend to visit. Woo! Houston's about to be popping in October. Right. But it's just about, it all started from the point that I said initially, my only thought process was I was just going to go and sit at her coffee shop and just share space and have a cup of tea. And it's evolved into all these greater things that I'm going to gain from that one experience. And I didn't even get there yet. I did register for the event. I'm headed that way. Right. The event. But I'm so excited. I'm so excited about being there. So ultimately, the goal is for everybody. You have to lead yourself if you plan on leading anybody else. And that's where real transformational leadership comes from. It comes from you taking time for you. It comes from you exercising and understanding all the tools you've had your whole life, things that have been poured into you, even your things that we categorize as trauma, right? Because those traumas were there to actually to build resilience, right? Ooh, trauma was there to build resilience. There you go. Boom. I'm gonna quote that later. Right. And ultimately, you know, just the people you hang around. The people you hang around matter, and who you surrounding yourself matters. Like being in this room right now is going to shift you in some way. I promise you that much. Okay. All right. So that was my rant. Yes. Perfect. 23 minutes solid. So I left 2 minutes for questions. Anybody have any questions? No questions, thoughts, comments? Ooh. Go ahead, Sharky.
Oh, okay. This is good. So I love your authenticity. Always have. I feels like every time I'm around you, you are truly a doctor. I'm always learning more and more about your story and why I'm inspired by your story. You ever be inspired by someone and don't know why? I'm like, oh, that's why. Like you're giving me pieces. But I'm curious as it relates to all of people's learning journeys. It sounds like you have a high level of self-actualization. Sounds like you didn't internalize a lot of the pain. It sounds like you didn't take it personal, like whatever the traumas or the adversities or setbacks. What is that like? I sometimes struggle with survivor's remorse because we can go through the same thing and I'm like, ooh, bet you I'm gonna win. Bet you I'm gonna look better at the end. Like I know, so I'm listening to how you made it through the other side. And we all know that some of our loved ones, some people close to us can't look this way after a divorce, can't look this way after parents have let us down or disappoint us. What do you say to people who are on their journeys and have a different relationship with their resilience, with their ability to overcome and quote unquote win?
Well, I think for most individuals is also just surrounding them around individuals who are like you, who have won. And I think that's where your network comes in. If you're sharing, because people get stuck because they find individuals who are also stuck, right? And they place themselves there. Okay, so this is a simple example. I really want to lose weight, right? But I'm going to hang out with all my friends who don't exercise. I really want to do this. I really want to go to school, but I'm going to hang around with my people who really don't want to go to school, who are not educated, right? Who don't have degrees. I'm going to keep myself stuck in that space. So I find with individuals, when you find that, it's really about stepping out and surrounding yourself around the people you want to look like and who you want to be like. And a lot of people get stuck in those moments because no one's told them that they don't have to be stuck. You know, and mental health is real. Like I've gone through years of therapy. Don't think that this work came from just because I sat around and I figured it out one day. No, like I have gone through a lot of professional development courses. I've done an amazing thing called Momentum, which I think has elevated my career life. And I'll send anybody every day to Momentum because I think it's one of the best experiences I've had in my whole life. But I've also been with a therapist and I spent time with my therapist to understand that my experiences are what made me to who I had to be today and learn to figure out through that. And I learned that through therapy. And that was about a decade ago. That I got a lot of that through therapy to the point where my therapist was like, do you just come here to talk to me? Yeah, I do, because I think you're cool. And like, but you have this. Don't you have friends? And that my therapist was the first person to tell me, don't you have friends? And I was like, yeah, I do. He's like, so why don't you talk to them? I was like, no, well, I don't. And my therapist said, you don't really need to see me. You got this. Embrace your friends and the connections around you. And I've held on to that. And I walked out that man's office and I haven't seen him since. Right. But I valued that moment because he gave me that, because he told me that I was able to do it. I was able to win on my own, that I had the tools I needed. So I think that individuals need to be kind of just encouraged to be surrounded around other individuals. And you find people who are stuck. For me, you can't bring everybody with you. But me, I always invite everybody to the table. And I'm not saying, and I invite anybody and everybody to the table. It doesn't matter what your experiences are, what it is. And I invite people to the table. So I think that for me, is like, if you want to see somebody who's not necessarily in that winning phase because they're stuck and they haven't built that resilience, keep inviting them to the table. Because ultimately, one of two things are going to happen is either they're going to take a seat or they're going to watch you while you're there and they're growing in the same way. Okay. Any other questions? You're welcome. Princess, I saw you had a question.
No, I was just gonna say, I really appreciate you because I've had a lot of up and downs in my entrepreneur. And one thing that I said is you stay consistent. And when I've reached out to you, you've always been like, you got this, girl, done. I'm like, wait, Dr. Pope, I don't think I'm ready. You're like, no, you're ready. I'm adding you to the thing. I'm like, okay, like, what am I? And you start you start doubting yourself. But I just feel like ever since I've connected with you, you've always been a support. And then, and when I came back to you and I shied away from any success I had, you were like, no, you got this. And so I just really appreciate you. And then sharing your story just now, it really touched my heart even more because a lot of times we're ashamed of our story. And we're ashamed of where we come from. And just this weekend, I went to a conference in Texas. That's why I was like, wait, if I was in Houston, I was in Dallas at a conference. And I learned a lot from there just about the vulnerability and sharing your story and how so many people can connect with the broken part of you. Instead of the healed part of you, because they have to see your journey. When you just show up as the healed part, they're like, oh, I can't connect with her. I can't get nothing from her. Not knowing that, child, you don't even know what I've been through. So, and you sharing your story, it's encouraging me even more to show up as the broken, the healed, the in-between part of me in order to really lean into what God has. So I appreciate you for that. I really do.
Yeah. Yeah. My cousin told me that about a year and a half ago because I'm from Mount Vernon, it's a very small place. And people were like, she said that she put a post about her being my cousin and somebody hit her up on the side. Someone that we knew was like, oh, that's your cousin. And there's like, you know, this whole energy that people kind of give her, oh, she thinks she's too good. And I don't give that. That's not what I'm doing. I'm giving that, yo, you can come join me. You want to have lunch? Let's talk about it. Let's get here. Right. But that it told me that she said, well, because people don't realize that you came from the same streets that we came through. Right. So then I had to start talking more and more about that. And that was just enlightening moment for me. I was like, but don't people know who my mama is? People know that my brother's locked up right now. Like, I'm from these streets. But I had to start reminding people that I'm from these streets, that I've lived the same exact life. And so it's been very intentional of me to start sharing parts that and celebrating the parts that are in the struggles that I've gone through. I think that, you know, I work in early childhood. I think the fact that I'm phenomenal at what I do in early childhood is because I've been raising my brothers and sisters since I was younger, right? Those skills that I learned so early on how to multitask with being 14, having 2 different jobs, running track, and still had to make sure I ate every day, having a boyfriend, because I did have boyfriends back in the day, I shall say. And then also being in a point where I had to still tend to my family for whatever that may have been during that time, right? Those took real skills to be able to manage the life that I had to live as a teenager. But now I'm able to manage my real life in a different capacity than a lot of individuals. People can't even understand my level of capacity. Like, how can you do that? It's not that hard. I just, schedule things out and I tap out. I come home sometimes and Lisa wants to talk about a certain business aspect. I say, no, that's not on my schedule until tomorrow afternoon. I love you though. Can you hold that thought until then? And she'd be like, all right. And then she gives me this she go walk and, hide in the bathroom because she likes to do that. Right. But it's just different things that happen that, you just got to learn when to tap in and when to tap out of certain stuff. Okay. All right. Any more questions before we move on? No. Okay.
I don't have a question, but I want to add to it that sometimes people see things that are not familiar, and your consistency and steady being there, showing them that you're a safe space and a space to grow, opens up a different pathway for them because they may see you as competitive. When they see you, they're comparing how relatable are you to me, and they don't know the story, they don't understand it. But once you keep that consistency and they see that genuine love and compassion and that desire to assist them along their pathway or show them the pathway, it does open up. It's like rewiring your brain because they've been taught to compete or that they're less than or they don't matter, but you're trying to take people with you.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I'm all for it. I just want a tribe. That's why I call BGE a movement. It definitely is a movement. And so I'm going to show you guys a short clip. And this is really for people who are going to be watching later on. So let me share this with you because I'm all about community and being with people who are within the right space. So let's learn a little bit about Retreat 2023 and why you want. Dr. Glow here. We are at the final seconds of the end of Retreat 2022. This has been a phenomenal weekend from the planning to everything just falling in line, from beautiful weather to a beautiful house to beautiful people. I want to thank everybody who came out, thank all the vendors who participated in this and supported this event to happen this weekend. It was phenomenal. I had so many people who did not anticipate that it was going to be what it came out to be, because I think that it really has to do with the individuals in the space. You never can determine what you're actually going to gain from this experience. And that's the same thing with anything Black Girl Everything. I just don't do pop-ups. I just don't host brunches. I host experiences every time, and this retreat was a full-fledged experience from beginning to the end. We're excited to be already announcing 2023, which is going to be in Connecticut next year. Early registration will be opening up in 7 days for those who happen to miss out on it this year. You can find the link on the Black Girl Everything website. But before I tap off of this, for those who did not make it out here, and I think for me, I want so many people to come and have this experience, because I know it's something that's invigorating and renewing. It gives you a new leash on your life. And for those who did not have that, I would like you all to remember that life, although complicated, definitely is beautiful. Thank you. Jump on the website and register today for 2023. We're excited to have you. So y'all better go to 2023, because it's like the bomb. I love the retreat. It's like one of my favorite events. And it's all about building network and connections. Those of you who have been here, I have people who come, and they've come every single year. It's super, super dope. It's not in Connecticut, by the way. Sorry, Janine. I ended up finding a really cool house in upstate New York, because Connecticut couldn't give me what I wanted. So I got a really, really dope house. Really, really excited. It is right outside of Monticello. So how it does work is individuals, you come to the retreat. It's a 3-day event. Friday is like a cocktail hour, get to know people. Saturday is a different type of conference, because it's also very wellness based. And then Sunday is all-inclusive brunch. And then this Sunday, we're actually, proceeds of the portion of what we made for Sunday are going towards breast cancer awareness this year, because we're doing it in October. So we're really, really excited about that. So that's Retreat 2023. You get 3 whole days of me, which is really, really cool. And I say that because you build out a better network. I think people who come to the retreat have connected in so many different ways that they still work with each other all the time. Like, it's really, really dope, really, really dope. All right. So we're going to get started now with learning about our amazing panelists. Really excited to have them join me today. And again, I want to tell them thank you for showing up, and thank you for saying yes, because you all are winners. Really excited about you. So let's start off. We're going to do our introductions. We're going to start off with the beautiful Farah up there. Hey, boo.
Hey, so excited to be here.
We're excited to have you. So this is pretty much your moment. I'm going to actually mute myself, because it's not about me, it's about you.
All right, so hello everyone. Good morning, good afternoon. My name is Farah Leray. As Dr. Glow said, I am based in Houston, Texas. I actually just moved here a couple of months ago. Prior to that, I was a West Coast girl. Like, I'm from California originally, grew up in Las Vegas, spent a couple years in Arizona, and then came up here back in November. So very excited for the new opportunity to like meet new people, network, try new things, just spread my wings here and all that good stuff. Dr. Glow, I'll be at the authors conference as well. So we might even get to hang out over there. But yes, so I am the CEO and a business coach over at the Elite Society. It is a community for female entrepreneurs and leaders. We do have an emphasis on faith. I'm a woman of faith. I grew up in the church. My dad's a pastor, presiding bishop over an international organization. And so a little bit of everything I do, you're gonna, feel that faith, because it's what drives me. It's what's pushed me into entrepreneurship. It's what inspires me in everything that I do. But the Elite Society was created just kind of out of a need, right? I've been a publicist since 2015, a branding coach, refinement specialist, as well as a graphic designer and social media marketer. And I had a lot of clients coming to me wanting to work together, but their brand was nowhere near the space where it needed publicity. Like, I'm like, if I put you in the paper and they see that I'm the one that put you there, they're coming back at me. And so I said, why not create a space, right? A safe space where women can connect with like-minded women where we can learn, we can grow. I teach about, we have courses on our online university where you actually can learn how to build your own website from A to Z. We talk about starting a business. Our whole thing is at the Elite Society, you graduate as the CEO of your own company. So we have these immersive experiences, which is actually how Dr. Glow and I met. I was hosting a 12-city tour last year called the Elite Society Women in Business Meetup, went to all of the major cities and just was able to connect with so many powerful women. We had a panel, we had brunch, we gave gifts from our sponsors, and just to really be able to inspire women. And all of the proceeds went back into the university, where we're able to give away scholarships and grants to female entrepreneurs and what I like to call wantrepreneurs, which are women who want to be entrepreneurs. So I'm going to be teaching a segment. I did prepare a little something. We can get in there and just talk about sandwiches if you want, but I did prepare a little presentation called So You Want to Be a Boss. And we're talking about your mindset. We're talking about your network. We're talking about your habits and how all of that plays a major part in your entrepreneurial journey. So if you want to hear a little bit about that, come hang out with me. If you want to pop in and out of the rooms, make sure you grab my information. I pasted it here in the chat earlier, but I'll do it again. I also do have a free digital download. It's called the Brain Dump Guide, where it just has pages and pages where you can do bubble maps and write things out, just getting all of your ideas out on paper. You can print it or download the PDF into your iPad and just scribble away. So again, my name is Farrah LeRae. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you, Dr. Glow, for having me. And I look forward to meeting and connecting with each and every one of you. Even if you don't want to come into my room and hang out or get the download, follow me on social media. I'd love to connect and just follow you on your journey as well. Thanks again.
All right. Thank you, Farrah. It was amazing. So we're going to slide on over to Princess.
Good morning, everyone. This is Princess Duncanson. I'm super happy to be here. I am a licensed realtor in the state of New Jersey. My husband and I are a real estate team together called the Duncanson Realtors, part of a bigger team. Naeem Boucher, he's like a big time real estate agent moving into speaker. So I'm happy about that. I love the idea of helping families, especially families that look like me, become homeowners. I never grew up in a house. I always grew up in an apartment, but similar to Dr. Poe, I had an older sister. She's 20 years difference. I have older siblings, but I grew up with my mom. So I'm closer to my mother's children. And so my sister is actually a doctor of education as well. She was the first one to really expose me to more, that it can be more in life, that I can do more in life. I actually sat in on her dissertation. So that elevated me. Throughout my career growing up, I was an actress. I always thought I was going to be an actress. But now that's kind of turned into where I am today. I'm also an author. I always feel weird saying, I feel like I'm like vomiting what I am, but you know what it is. That is who I am. So I'm also an author. I published my first book called Still Standing, and it's a poetry book. I've been writing poetry my entire life. And so I decided to step out of my bubble and publish it. I published it, I let it sit because I was scared and saying, who the heck do I think I am? I'm not putting no book out there, but I've been pushing it now. And really, I created a platform, Amira Rose LLC, I am the CEO of it, where it's about women empowerment. I started Still Standing and Prayed Up. And that's a prayer call that I have every other Wednesday because I was similar to Farrah. My mom's not a pastor, but I was a church girl. I was on a junior usher. I was a junior nurse. I was in the choir. Whatever could be done, we lived at church. So as I got older, I was like, not going to church, but not realizing that my mom actually gave me a huge nugget by instilling God in me. And that has been my force throughout. So what I've done is I've took all of that love, all of that, I pour that into my clients with real estate, and I pour that into my clients with women empowerment, and ensuring that the core is always going to be God for me. So if that doesn't sit right with you, that's fine. But if it does sit right with you, I wanted women to know I've been through a lot in my life. And so my center has been God. So I've put that back into Amira Rose LLC because I wanted women to know, yes, you can be a woman. Yes, you can be failing. Yes, you can be struggling with sobriety. Yes, you can be struggling with so many different things. And you still can love God, and he still can love you. So that is where I am right now. I'm taking nuggets because I want to go on this book tour too. I need to be there with y'all. But if you want to follow me, I put my information in there. If you are looking, I'm also a mom of a special needs child. He is high functioning autistic. And as much as I have said to him, I need you to shush, he keeps going, shh, shh. He's still loud. So if you hear him in the background when I'm talking, I'm a mom of 4. I'm going to keep going. I'm a wife. But the biggest nugget that I want people to get from this and get from me. I would love for you to follow me. I'm about empowerment. I'm taking nuggets from you guys as well. My real estate business is way more established and growing. So I may be calling Farah after this, like, girl, let's get the other one going too, because I have a story to tell and I'm getting more comfortable telling it in hopes of empowering other women and ensuring that they can, and I'm also a suicide survivor as well. I've really never shared that, but I'm a suicide survivor. So I know what that feels like to be so broken. So my goal is to get out there and say, don't let that 30 or 40 minute or 6 months make you regret something and make a decision that you can never come back from. So that's where I am right now.
We are so happy to have you with us, Princess. Thank you. And thank you also for that last piece, because like I keep saying, mental health is real. And, you know, things have crossed probably all of our minds at least once in our life, right? So we appreciate you being so open and honest with us, because that's definitely amazing. So we're going to slide on over to Eva.
I thought I might be next in your eye line there. And I was hoping to go a little later just because I'm so enjoying just hearing everybody. But my name is Eva Ford. And, you know, honestly, I don't have a story of, you know, like, well, personal anguish or pain. My big story is around mindset and how not having an empowered mindset has you know, held me back for a long time. And when I found out that mindset was a thing, and that it was impacting my money, especially at the time, I mentioned before, I was living in Jamaica, and I was living in Jamaica and I was very broke. And yet I was the president of a social work department for a university. And I had kind of a big profile and my lights were turned off and couldn't pay my insurance. And I got a loan and found out by losing all of that, so getting further into debt, that there was a thing called a wealth mindset and a wealth mentality, and that it impacted every single aspect of your life. And so being a social worker, once I found this out and was able to discover that, oh, there are things that we actually learn and are programmed with when it comes to money, and how that ripple effect that has on your life. I, at the time, determined that I was going to shift my mindset to wealth, and I was going to go back and share it with people in my profession, because I found out that my profession was one of the key culprits that kind of reinforced this lack mentality. And it didn't allow me to do the thing that I wanted to do the most, which is give and serve. But you can't serve if you can't pay for gas to put in your car, or can't, you know, call anybody because you ain't got no credit on your phone. So mine has been a journey into just not only understanding wealth and an entrepreneurial journey at that, but I've created a brand called The Rich Social Worker. And through that, I share and inspire other social workers to also dream bigger, and think broader. And like you said, Farah, see yourself as a CEO of your life. Those aren't the words that I use. But in social work, we often see ourselves as kind of like martyrs and servants, and no, don't pay me, or it's all for you. And yet in the background, we're back there cussing because we can't afford to take a vacation, and folks are stressing us out, and people aren't paying us and respecting us. And so my whole goal is to say, like, listen, you get to care about yourself too. You get to care about yourself and your well-being, and about your money. And your mindset is a big part of that. So one of the first experiments I did to start to create passive income for myself was I wrote a book called How Not to Practice Social Work. And it was just kind of an experiment. And yet, because I'm in the social work profession, I have social work friends, people started telling me, like, oh, we're using that in your class, and oh, that's required reading, or you know, recommended reading and things like that. So that was cool to see, like, oh, wait, I actually can actually, you know, like put something out in the world and it can have a ripple effect. And so it's been wonderful just to see how my voice has impacted people, and it's come back to me. And I met Dr. Glow through that Momentum program that she mentioned. I agree, transformational. If anybody ever gets to go, I recommend doing that. And I'm looking forward to attending that next retreat, Dr. Glow. But that's me. I have a YouTube channel. That's where most people find me. And, Rich Social Worker is all my handles. And I'm so looking forward to learning from everyone here.
Eva, I didn't know that you wrote a book that's used at universities. Why was that not on my list of things I know about Eva?
You know what? It's now 10 years old. I published it in 2013, which I can't believe 10 years has passed.
Yeah, I'm gonna find it and I'm gonna put it in our big momentum group and say, Eva didn't tell y'all, but I'm telling y'all.
Okay.
All right. So Tiffany Tate, give it to me, darling. How are you?
Good morning. I'm Tiffany Tate. I am a licensed clinical social worker. So I am a licensed therapist by trade. I use that word by trade very heavily because I have not practiced in over a decade. I own a company called Paradigm Behavioral Health, and we are a national behavioral health consulting firm. We build behavioral health treatment centers and hospitals across the nation. And that's been truly a blessing. I connect with Princess and Farah. I was raised under the church, right? Like some people say they were raised in the church. My mama had me under the church. She was an intercessor. I grew up in inner city Brooklyn. I'm a child of immigrant parents, so I'm a first generation American. All of that together, though, created a sense of lack, right? My mentality was lack because I was raised in lack. I went to school to be a social worker, which trains you to live in lack. Let me tell you how much I denounce all of that, and I don't live in that at all, and I refuse that. God has blessed Paradigm tremendously. That has never been my passion or my purpose, but it was God's will for our lives. And it was a blessing. We were able to build a multi-million-dollar portfolio in only 5 years. And that is only because of the grace of God and following. I want to be extremely clear that what I wanted to do was very different from what God wanted me to do. Amen. As a result of honoring that obedience, though, God has given us, I bless you, you bless back. So we also own a social enterprise called Unorthodox Group. You could find us. That's primarily where our social media presence is, under that social enterprise. We do not make money off of Unorthodox Group. This is the ministry God has given us to give back. We host monthly mentorship meetings for professional women across the nation. We show up, we answer your questions related to entrepreneurship. We create connections. Last month was a blessing. 3 contracts were created and signed within a month. We haven't even hit the next month yet. And that's been such a blessing to get women that look like us into a room talking about money. And so that's what we do with Unorthodox Group. We offer mentorship services. We have a book that I listed in kind of our chat of where to follow us on Amazon. It is a leadership devotional for women leaders of the Bible. It is very unorthodox. I want to be very clear. I'm not just looking at how Jesus' mother showed up, but I'm looking at the Queen of Sheba who rolled in all her high glory, right? And so I really talk about the swag that we see in these women in the Bible and the power that we see that's often dimmed down by the men of the Bible, right? And so I encourage you to take a look at that. Show up for free. We don't charge for unorthodox services. You are welcome to join us every month. We have a YouTube channel called Unorthodox Thoughts that we talk about helping professionals and the hustles that we utilized in building our entrepreneurial journey. This was not about starting a business, making money. I wish it was that easy. I wish it was what they show you on social media. That was not our experience. There was a lot of different hustles, a lot of different areas of flexibility that was able to get us to the place we are now. But I got to tell you, Dr. Glow, I know that meditation moment was for our mind to get right, but honey, my soul is right after hearing your story, after hearing the story of all these other women, and the fact that we have so much drive, so much power in this room is exciting for me. So blessings to you all today. If you want to check me out in one of our breakout rooms, I really focus on a success mindset and really what we need to do to create success for ourselves. Our parents teach us what success is. Society teaches us what success is, what we can and cannot have. As grown women, I want to get rid of all of that. And I want us to go to the table and say, what do we need? What does our soul need? What do we want for our future generations? And how do we really rebuild that mentality? So that's me in a nutshell. Lovely to meet you all.
Perfect. Thank you, Tiffany. Very, very, very big, huge, wonderful. All right. So last but not least, we have the beautiful team of Connect. I don't know if you guys talk about y'all. I was going to do that, but we'll talk at the same time. I'm fine with this. Up to y'all. Sharky and Keisha.
Is Keisha here? Hey, Keisha. Hey, Dr. Glow, thank you so much. Can everybody hear me? I can't hear Keisha, my amazing co-founder. Okay, I'm going to start and then I'm going to let Keisha circle back. But I am one half of Connect Collab. My name is Sharky. I'm Sharnetta LaShawn Tyler David, but I go by Sharky. Keisha is my brilliant co-founder and COO of Connect Collab. And I am also she's also my friend of 18 years. The reason why I mention that always, Keisha was saying that she was doing another event, and today I was at an Earth Day event. I was setting up, I was doing all kinds of stuff before this call, but I'm so happy to be here, and I'm so grateful to just learn about all of your the work that you all are doing, your ministries, your businesses, your passions, your missions, your families. I really am honored. One of the things that Connect Co sets out to do is to help people curate genuine relationships with people within their network. So a lot of times I call myself a first gen networker. I was the first in my family to go off to college out of 36 grandkids and complete college, right? When someone say, go network, go do these things, go build, share your worth, share your value, right? As a woman, sometimes, and I started my career in education, we were taught to play down what we were doing. We had a real modest budget. We were taught to do so much. We were taught to make things stretch as educators, as social workers, as counselors, right? So a lot of times when I stepped into entrepreneurship, all of us know that it's very different. Like, play up yourself, like tell people how, like speak to your importance, your values, tell people why your conference is amazing, even if it's still in your head. Like, it's in my mind, right? Like, I haven't put it together, but it's going to be great. So those two worlds are, I find to be juxtaposed. Like, they are so far apart. And when Keisha and I came together and moving back to Mount Vernon, we found that a lot of times we were going out to other places to actually network and to connect with other people. Keisha now lives in Harlem, but she still has her most of her immediate family is still here, and just making sure that we had an offerings and events and networking experiences that really spoke to who we were. Keisha and I started our friendship at Georgetown. We met 18 years ago as students there. We went on to pursue masters at, she went to Hunter, I went to Hopkins. And then we reconnected again. We have our second master's together. So to me, we kept bumping into each other. Like, we didn't even know that we were getting our masters together. She called and let me know that I got in. But one of the things, the core of what we do is really finding connections, helping people build relationships that really help them reach their goals, really help them build their networks, really help them, I think, incubate their ideas. I think with Connect, just not just building your network just to know people, but really following up with our members or our attendees, figuring out how we can open up our Rolodex to help you raise money. One of our greatest accomplishments with one of our clients, Traflow, an early stage startup out of MIT and Harvard. We went on a 6-city tour and was able to help this team, this early startup in tech, raise about $400,000. And just the publicity and being able to capture those moments and teach people about our community, primarily about investing and not just saving your money, but investing your money in tech companies, actually garnered the attention and support of Serena Williams and helped this team raise $2 million in a 3-month campaign. So it was really the work that we believe in is just like we really give our all in the same way that a lot of us, some of you all mentioned that you are educators. I think we know how to pour into people. Dr. Glow, you talked about pouring into your family. I'm my dad's oldest child, so I know feeling that level of responsibility. So it's like, I honestly, sometimes monetizing that amazing gift that we would give out for free, right? Like I think I've heard this with some of us, just the sentiment that we found our knack, we found our thing that we do, we found our niche in the world, but actually figuring out how to share that and how to make sure that we're connecting other people to those opportunities. Yeah, that's a little bit. I don't think I shared a little bit about I also work in a family business. I've been working with my husband for a year now. He has a tech company. I joined last year as a head of marketing. So I find that with marketing, all I'm doing is sharing message. I tap into the educator in me to share the messages of what we're doing. That's storytelling, creativity. I'm always creating flyers. I'm always designing looks to bring information to the forefront. I just had this role. Don't really get hung up on roles. I really focus on what I'm called to do. I always found that I was an entrepreneur before I even knew what that was. I didn't know what I wanted to do. Like I proudly share that these days. Like didn't know what I wanted to do. I just wanted to do what I was good at and what people needed me to do at the time. But to now to own that and wrap that up. And I'm a consultant, I'm a counselor, I have my master's of science in counseling. So I think it was, forget who mentioned this earlier, but by trade, I'm a trained counselor, a Johns Hopkins certified counselor, right? But I'm always solving problems. I was a counselor before Johns Hopkins told me I was a counselor. So if you come to our session, Keisha and I will be able to check in with you about just building networking for introverts, extroverts, and ambiverts. I'm an ambivert. I'm very much, I think people think that I'm very extroverted. Nope. And figuring out how we can make sure that you're in a space where if there are resources that I have, as far as raising capital, ask me creative ways to do that, creative ways to dig into people's pockets. Please come to our sessions, we'll talk. And I wanted to be able to share this with Keisha too. Is your mic working, Keisha?
Yeah, can y'all hear me? Awesome. Thanks, Sharky, for taking the lead. I'm really capturing the essence of connect. Pleasure to be with you all. I just echoing a lot of what I've heard, that we've been taking the sum of our many experiences and talents and then pouring it in these unique and innovative ways now, the season that we're in. And that's very much like Sharky shared the story of Connect. She mentioned like our backgrounds in education. I'm a career educator, but maybe not the traditional role. I've worn many different hats in this space. And right now I'm an education consultant at my own consultancy. And we've been using all of the talent and the training and the skill in those spaces and amplifying the power of relationship building and connection in this way, because it is literally the linchpin to everything. It's the key to everything. It's the catalyst to opportunity. And somehow in this world, it's not prioritized in the same way, even though we feel it in our bones. It's like literally the beginning of all things connection and relationships. So just happy to continue to share our work and our story with you all and to learn in community.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Keisha. All right. So I'm going to do a little shift of my schedule a little bit. So the raffle, I'm going to move to catch up a little bit on some time there. We're going to tap that in before we go into a break. I want to slide right into the panel because I feel like we've been having some real good conversation about what individuals have been talking about. So how the panel is going to work is everybody have opportunity to respond. Just try to keep your responses down to, like a minute or so, because we all know trying to get around. There's a lot of people willing and able to speak. Just kind of raise your hand or just jump in as feels needed. So for our panelists, any questions about the panel? Anybody else who's just here? Questions will come towards the end. We'll be able to circle back. So just maybe on your notebook, just jot down a thought process because we kind of want to go through everything because the questions you may have, they may actually cover within the rest of the responses. So let's wait to the end. We'll have a quick Q&A before we go on to a break. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. So my first question is one of my biggest questions, and it's really about what does winning look like to you? Because we know winning can look like different things to different people, right? Winning's not the same for everyone. So let's talk about what does winning look like to you as we talk about the Winners Conference and really the purpose of us all joining in space today. Who would like to go first?
I thought about this, and it's similar to a question I used to think about it a lot. What is success, or how are you successful? How are successful people successful? And I used to hear people say, it depends. What does it mean to you? And I thought, well, that's such a cop-out. What do you mean? What does it mean to me? But it really is, I think, an ongoing, it's a progressive growing, learning, and you're winning, I think, if you have a goal in mind or have goals in mind and you continue to move forward towards those goals. Winning is not, you train for an event and you finish it. You get a trophy and you're done. That's not it. Winning is you know, you didn't know how to create connections, and now you do. But now with that realization, you recognize that there's levels to this, right? So you set that goal for the next level, and you're in pursuit of that, and you accomplish that, and you continue to grow when you are surrounding yourself, I think, with winners, people who are on a similar path of positive growth and connection, with goals in mind. And I truly believe that we're here to help each other, right? You ever notice how it's easier to help someone else than it is to help yourself with the exact same issue? But that's okay. That's just confirmation that we need each other to keep each other winning and moving progressively towards our goals. And we're never going to get it all done. It's not going to ever be finished. So winning, again, I think to me is just an ongoing process.
Oh, thank you, Eva. Who would like to add on to that?
Moi. You couldn't have said it better. That's literally how I've been defining winning for myself in the season, because I do think it is a very individual pursuit and understanding, right? Like you have to operationalize in how it makes sense for you. I do think it's continually occurring. And total aside, have you seen this show on Netflix, Beef, with Ali Wong? I recommend. It's a bit of a comedy, drama, thriller thing. It starts off with a road rage incident, but really it's a conversation about fulfillment and how do you define fulfillment for yourself. And sometimes these superficial markers, they're not it. And as I've been growing and evolving myself, I've been very much more process oriented. How am I feeling in the midst of my pursuit of my dreams? If you feel crazy while you're pursuing, what's the whole point? Even if you check off the box and say, I did it, but then like, how did you feel in the pursuit of it? So just anchoring that understanding around, yes, you have outcomes and we want to hit things, but pay attention to the process along the way and be feeling great along the journey too, and appreciating those micro moments of transformation that are happening.
Farah?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Definitely, I think what you were looking for, Eva, is what does success look like to you? You know, that's a question that my dad asks. He's also a coach and, works with personal development and things like that. And that's a question he always asks us as his children. What does success look like to you? You know, is it money? Is it cars? Is it having your family intact? Is it happiness, mental health? What does that look like? And so that's a question he's always asking us. And I agree that I think it's a very personal experience. Growing up, I think that the world fed us our idea of success and winning, whether that was growing up in the church told you what that looked like, or pop culture, Hollywood told you what that looked like. But I think because the world is becoming smaller, we have things like TikTok and Instagram where people are speaking out about the facade they had to put on and what was really going on in the back end. It's causing all of us to really take a step back and ask, like, okay, then if that isn't true, and if that's not real, if there's nothing tangible about that experience, then what is my truth and what does that really look like? And so to answer the question though, for me personally, it is having my family intact. I'm a single mother. I was married before. We divorced it'll be a year now next month. Wow. It'll be a year next month. We've been separated for a while, but I have a 2-year-old little girl. She's the light of my life. And to me, I say before anything, I'm a mom, right? Like I'll stop everything I'm doing to take a moment and parent. And Dr. Will, you know it, my girl should be screaming in the background. I'm like, what's up? What we doing? What we talking about? But to me, I feel like I'm winning if I can take those teachable moments with my daughter, if I can spend time with her. It doesn't matter the amount of work that I can do, how many hours I spend on the clock, how much I'm investing in my work if I am not spending intentional time with my daughter. I feel like genuinely such a winner when I get those little moments to just hold her, cuddle her, talk to her. We're learning other languages together, singing together, her being able to find my note, because I'm a singer songwriter as well. So I'll hit a note, and when she finds it, I feel like a winner. To me, that is winning, when I know that my baby is learning that all of the seeds that I'm planting, everything that I'm teaching, everything I'm putting out, that she's taking it and she's learning, even at such a young age. And I know I got a long way to go, but that makes me feel like a winner. When I feel like my seeds that I'm planting as a mom, that they're actually taking root and growing.
Thank you. That was beautiful. Tiffany?
So the answer in this moment is when I'm filled with joy and my children are well. I want to humbly say, as we're being vulnerable in this call, I did not have the mindset Farah had 10 years ago. I had a lack mindset. I need to get this money up so my children don't have the life I live. I need to make sure I pay down on a house and I leave them generational wealth so they don't have the struggles I did. But I missed out on a lot building money. I want to be really clear about that. My definition of success has had to change because my children needed me. And so where I thought getting a check was going to solve the problems, pay off college, own houses, leave them wealth, what I did was I left them, right? And so my definition of success has changed over the years, but I encourage you to give yourself the grace and the power to redefine it at any given moment. Whatever it needs to be for your soul today, let that be success for you today. My version of success today is not what it was 10 years ago, nor does that multi-million-dollar portfolio look the same. I want to be extremely clear because I'm not willing to make the sacrifices I was willing to make 8 years ago, 10 years ago. And that is winning to me. The power to say I can choose, that I can be well, that my family can be well, and that I can make that balance, whatever it needs to be for me is winning. 10 years ago, somebody asked me a business deal. 8 years ago, somebody asked me in a business deal, a very rich white man asked me when we were doing this business deal, how will you know when you're successful? And I said to him without even thinking, I'm going to own a brownstone in Brooklyn and a condo on Miami Beach. And what silly goals I look back at now for me in this version of success. I don't care about the lifestyle anymore. I care about the experiences. And so I give myself the grace to adjust to that and to make up for lost time. And so I don't care what your version of success was yesterday. I really empower you to redefine it today. What works for you, what works for your family, what is in line with your responsibilities, your priorities, and your goals. Balance those. That's where you get your definition of success.
Dr. Go, can I say something just in response?
Please, go ahead.
So I'm so glad you mentioned just your experience, and thank you for sharing that. For me, I just got here. So my husband and I got a divorce. I separated in 2021, our divorce finalized in 22. And I did have that mindset, I got to get it. I'm a single mom now. I got to make it happen. My baby needs this. My baby needs that. But I was in and out of town, leaving her with my mom and all this stuff. In November of last year, I had a freak accident and broke my ankle in 3 places. And I had surgery in December. And all of these months, I just started walking again a little over 6 weeks ago. And laying up on my back, not being able to do nothing for myself, having to rely on everyone else has made me stop and take that step back and say, my baby needs me. Like I'm going and I'm making it happen and all this, but what does it matter if she doesn't know me? What does it matter if she, we don't have that quality time and that bond, especially growing up in a house where it is just me and her, her dad's not in the home. So for me, I just got to this place and I'm thankful for it. I really believe it was an act of God, because I would have been in a totally different space right now. So I'm glad that you mentioned that. And again, thank you for sharing. And I'm thankful that I'm here, even though I'm walking around with 2 plates and 11 screws in my leg. I'm thankful that it could have been worse, could have been broke both or died. And then she didn't have me at all. Like it could have been anything, right? But I'm thankful that I was able to learn from that experience and then change my mindset, change my direction and my viewpoint on the situation. And now balance, compartmentalize, take my time with my baby, do my work, and just let everything flow. So.
Yeah, thank you for that, Farah. I think that's, especially as being a parent and doing this type of work, there's this balance that you have to figure out and how that looks like, because, I have my 18-year-old and then I have my almost 4-year-old, and they have 2 totally different sets of needs, but totally the same person at 18 and 4. And it's just like, how do you actually balance where, okay, with him, how does he want to hang out? Her, yeah, I can watch her, her Miraculous and her cartoons with her and play with slime and put it on my face and laugh. And that's our quality time. But for him, it's not the same. It's like, especially now trying to learn how to manage and parent an adult, it's a totally different lane. And I don't know how to do that. I'm like, what am I supposed to do? I look like I'm 12. How am I supposed to figure this out? So it's like, and trying to find that balance is real. And then also trying to live within my space and and, you know, figuring out what is going to give me my idea of freedom, which is a big word for me this week. Is just finding my freedom and not necessarily living somebody else's dreams, but living my dreams, right? So I'm happy that you all brought that in as being as parents, because it's so important. It's so important because we always think that that monetary piece is what's going to save them, and it's not necessarily going to save them. Yeah, my kids are growing up in a beautiful house. I'm proud that I have this space that if they ever need to come home, they have a home to come to. That was my only goal with that. But now it's like I got there, but now what's next, and what does that look like? You know, for me and for my own children. So thank you for that piece. I think that was a big part of this. But we're going to move on. Princess, did you want to make a statement before I move on? Oh, please go ahead.
Sorry, I was taking my time, taking everything in. So I think for me, similar to what Tiffany says, it changes for me. So in the past, it was about money, making it, getting it. Dealing with my special needs son, him being high functioning autistic, development delayed, that took me through something that I had to get past and had to understand. So I think for me, a level of success is inner peace, starting with that first, having inner peace, giving myself grace and mercy and forgiveness. It used to be public validation. I used to always want everyone to praise me, praise me, praise me. And then I had to change that into praising myself and then ensuring that what I have for me aligns with what God has for me. So I used to get these ideas from God and then go to man to get that validation. But how can they validate what God told me? So now I'm at that piece where I'm growing that relationship with him to where I know if he tells me something, I'm going to rock with it. And instead of a girlfriend of mine, instead of finding my people, attracting my people. Another definition of success for me, I came from a broken home. I really don't even have any successful marriages in my family, maybe except for one. So I get to really see, I really get to have that opportunity. I'm a divorcee. I got married at 19. So I would like, I'm right now, I'm giving my kids the opportunity to be raised in a 2-parent household. I'm learning now how to be a wife and how to understand what that really means, how to be a mom, understanding what that really means. A lot of times in our Black culture, it was like, you do as I say, not as I do. Whereas I'm working on being a reflection for my children, giving them transparency and honesty, and then also giving them a voice to be able to speak to me, communicate with me, and they have a good mental stability. So I think success for me, I would love for it to, you know, the money will come, everything will come, my children, my husband, the relationship I have with them, and being, I wrote down having self-reflection and taking accountability for things, where a lot of times we lie to ourselves because we live within ourselves. So my level of success moving forward, and it does change, is self-love, self-reflection, and then also praising myself when good things happen. Because a lot of times I have that lack mentality, and something great will happen and I'll brush it off. But learning how to love and praise myself and say, "You go, girl, you did that," and allowing other people to tell me that I'm great as well, and accepting it and not rejecting it. I'm accepting that. So that's where I am right now.
Girl, you go ahead and celebrate you.
Dr. Glow, I was inspired to share. And I think listening to all this, I'm full. I'm taking notes. I'm just taking it all in. I'm like, I can't even write that fast. Like I'm just, and now I'm following you guys all on Instagram. I'm so happy to connect there. But just listening, I think I love the fact that it is changing and winning is evolving. Like there are certain things that I want a house. I want a house. Got it. And I'm like, okay, wait, I want an apartment in the sky. Like it changes. And I love giving myself permission to say what resonates with me. And I've always been that. I feel like I've always been like, and not like, oh, I'm different just to be different. No, I've always people were going that way. I'm like, if you can't convince me why I'm going that way, I'm not going. Like I was a vicarious learner. If you got hit with something, I'm like, I'm not going that way. So I think I've always had great insight and like a Holy Spirit or intuition that always guided me. And if it didn't make sense to me, I don't want it. I don't want to carry that bag because she's carrying that bag just because it's a success marker for them. So I've always been really critical most of my life. But I think winning, it's like I love how everyone's talking about family, and that means so much to me. I think providing my son with a healthy environment, not just for me, it means something to me that my son gets a relationship with his grandmother. And we recently survived just some real crazy stuff with family. And it's just like, to be able to also provide friends and godparents and other people, because sometimes family, it's a lot, but it's like, that's important to me. And winning, I love that it changes. And I have to check in with me to say, what is winning? Like, what is winning today? What is winning this week? What is winning Q2? What is winning? You know, like, I want to get my taxes done. When I get those in, I'll feel like a success, and that's real. So that's a win, big, small, I celebrate them all. And I'm actually the inverse princess. Like, I think I keep so much to myself. Like the stuff that I just shared with you guys about like Serena and the investment, I didn't tell anybody for a year. Oh, I didn't claim it as my own. So it's like, I'm like, nope, don't mind me, just winning, don't mind me. Like, but I'm practicing sharing that. I just won, big, small, little, big, whatever. Because I think winning is contagious. Like I love it. I love celebrating other people's victories, my own, theirs, big, small, I'm with it. So just wanted to share that.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, I tell people, like, you do anything great, tell me about it so I can tell other people. Like, I love that. I love when people do anything. Oh, I have a new product. Oh, I met a new person. Please let me know everything. I will put it all in my stories. That's what people tag me all the time. I'm just gonna press share. Because I want people to know that there's great people out here doing great things, right? And that sharing piece is huge. Keisha, you want to add on to that before I ask the next question?
Oh, okay. Continue.
Okay, perfect. All right, so we're going to move into the next question, and it's like, what do you think about the statement, mind and body are ultimately connected? And who?
True.
Go ahead, Farrah, tell me what's your thoughts on that, because I know it's connected. What do you think?
Absolutely true. Again, especially with this whole experience, I've never broken anything in my life, and I've seen how my mental, like, I literally had to pull myself up out of a mental pit, because when you're a person like me, like I said, I was on a 12-city tour last year, on top of touring with a production company. My family owns a film production company. We were premiering a new movie around the country. So I'm doing all these things. I'm used to just going, getting up and going, doing what I want, eating what I want, when I want, making things happen. And now I'm stuck. My leg was broken for 3 weeks before even having surgery. So I couldn't even move. I had to like be still. That was the craziest experience. But I had to tell myself, like, girl, you're gonna be fine. Like, I literally had to train my mind to understand that your situation is not your life. Like, you're like this for a second, they're gonna repair it, you're gonna be walking again. But because my physical body was down, like, it really did take a toll on my mental, and I had to like talk myself out of it. Even with that, understanding the process of having patience and understanding process, you know, I had to tell myself, like, I was ready to get up and walk, but it's like, okay, you have to pause, you have to take your time, you have to go through physical therapy, you know, you have to take these baby steps. And I had to allow my mind and my body to line up, instead of forcing or being angry with my circumstance or being frustrated with it in my mind. I was like, look, you're going to have to align yourself. You're going to have to understand that your body cannot do what your mind is trying to do. So I had to put myself in a position where I'm allowing my mind and my body to speak to one another and almost have a better relationship, because my mind was not into it. My mind was like, body, get up, let's go, let's make it happen. But I couldn't. And I had to get in a space where I had to make peace with myself and allow them to like communicate with one another and just understand, like, hey, we're on a journey. It might take some time, but we're going to be okay. So I believe it wholeheartedly. And if they're at odds, if they're at war, then you can't get anything done anyway. You're just not going to function. You have to align them.
Yeah, that makes complete sense to me. Eva?
Yeah, there's research that shows, successful people take care of their bodies first. They prioritize that. And I have to say, though, just to tell on myself, I recently I kind of forgot that. I don't like being cold. And I needed to be in California for a month. I was in the Bay Area. I was cold, and I did everything I could to not go outside. And I noticed that my, productivity slouched. Mm-hmm. And I know this, right? We know these things, but sometimes we forget. And I was like, girl, and I learned firsthand. I had gone through a breakup years ago, and it wasn't until I got my body in the game that everything else was able to kind of, all that burden was able to lift. And not only was I able to get through that breakup, but like actually make progress on my business and get back to winning. And so that's something that I am really excited about doing right now. And it's something that, yeah, like Fair was saying, it's connected, right? And you're not going to get as far as you can until you not only recognize it, but start to honor that in your body.
Yeah, perfect. Princess?
So I'll say for me, this is all me being a transparent moment. I deal and suffer with this anxiety and depression. And I have realized that I was similar. Like, I can work from home. I don't have to go out. I don't want to talk to people. But then I realized that people are my superpower. That is my superpower. Talking, connecting to other people. That is how I thrive. So I truly believe that God puts everybody on earth for a divine purpose. And my purpose is talking. Like, my energy is light. But I believe the enemy would have loved for me to just stay in that little bubble and be like, okay, I'm so anxious. So a lot of times I am forcing myself to get up. I'm forcing myself to get dressed. I'm talking to myself, get up, take a shower, get dressed, go, do what you have to do. But then once I do it, I get so fulfilled. I'm like, I'm glad I came. I'm glad I talked. I'm glad I just didn't sit in the corner. I'm glad I just lived in my purpose. So I have really been focused on feeding my mind better things. Like, every now and again, I like to watch my ratchet TV, but I can't do it all the time. I may catch a couple episodes and be like, all right, I'm done. But I've really been intentional about reading Proverbs because I need wisdom. I'm 37. I have 4 kids. I have a teenager now. And sometimes she looking at me, I'm looking at her like, what you want to do? Like, you trying me? And so I was like, I need to go back to the Bible. I need to read Proverbs. I need to pray more. I need to, I'm reading this book called The Energy Bus. I have to be that person that keeps my energy together and keeps me together. So I say all to say, I'm focusing on my mind being good. My mind being good, because if my mind is good and I'm thinking positive thoughts, because we think about 90,000 thoughts a day. I've read that somewhere from. So it's like, I'm just trying to shift those thoughts to just being more positive, because then I noticed that my body reacts different. Just in the last 4 months, I've lost 17 pounds just from focusing on what I'm eating and not going to food for comfort and not going to certain things for comfort. So I definitely believe that I'm focusing on my mind, I'm feeding my mind, and my body is just following through, and people are feeling that energy and good things are starting to attract to me. So
yeah, trust me, I know. That's why I'm in the gym 4 days a week. All that. And the days that I don't go, I'm like, okay, first thing, days I don't go is because I'm home, because I only go to my schools on Monday through Thursday. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, other days I'm not really in the gym. I'm outside in my yard doing yard work. And that's like the gym all by itself. Trust me, she makes me dig a lot of holes. So I'm always out here working. So it's a constant just taking care of my body and just watching what I eat and all those other things. And it changes my whole perspective of life, because as soon as I go into that gym, my day's like, oh, like, you was in the gym at 6 o'clock. Yeah, where were you at? Sleeping. You could have been at the gym with me. I'm telling you, have a much better day. A much better day. Keisha, I know you're all about connection.
I think there's never been a truer statement said. I've been, in the last few years, especially with COVID and all, like, intentionally thinking about my neural pathways and creating new neural pathways that serve me differently. Sharky knows I created a productivity paradigm shift for myself. I began to notice I had just this really, I'm sure y'all know this too, I've been hearing it reflected from so many other leaders too, but this unhealthy dynamic where your sense of worth is tied to some function of productivity or some definition of it, right? To the point where, like, we're all ladies in here. Like, I would have my period and then be anxious about my period coming because my level of work productivity would go down, and then beat myself up about it. And then my partner would be like, why don't you just readjust your expectations for self when you know it's coming? And I was like, that sounds really simple, but the world had told me since inception that I was not allowed to. Like I had to always be on and be a boss and be successful and crushing it, to the point where every month this like crazy dynamic of beating up on myself for the thing that my body's supposed to be doing. And like I'm just gonna function differently at that time. So it was just like a very specific example of the warped way I was operating. So I didn't want to feel like that. And I wanted to honor all the tremendous things I'm doing and redefine productivity. So I literally listed what I did in an entire day, like all the micro things, and I coded it. Like I'm a geek. So I coded it and categorized it and came up with different components, like different types of productivity. Because even that thing that seems, unrelated, it's ultimately serving me, right? Like when I decide to bust a soca line, it's serving me. I call it that sacral productivity. It's like boosting my serotonin levels. It's creating just a space of openness and whimsy and possibility. And now I identify as a creative. So all of those things need to be open and flowing for me to actually do the kind of work that I do. So yes, my soca line does help my actual work productivity. So to this day, as a part of my self-care, just continually training my mind to honor all the parts of what I do in my planner. I write down the type of productivity power I'm engaged in that day, because I still have to do the self-talk and be like, no, maybe it wasn't this tactical productivity, you can get this thing done, but you worked on optimization, like optimizing how you're operating, like you're eating right, you're taking the time to be physical, to exercise, to clean your space, right? You work differently when you clean your space. That's optimization. So it's just a different level of understanding how everything is intertwined. And I'm loving that for myself.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that response, Keisha. So let's slide into the next question. I'm going to skip around a little bit from y'all list that y'all know y'all have in front of you. But the next question we're going to go with is, what about love and business? How's this shown up for you? Because relationship during business is interesting. And then we have a couple of people who are married, right? It's also myself with someone. And how does that show up for your journey with entrepreneurship just in general?
So it's okay. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. You go ahead, Princess.
Okay, so I'll say this. So I work with my husband 24/7. Oh, Jesus God. And so what we are continuously working on is trying to separate that, because we work in our house, we work together all the time. So sometimes boss Princess is always on, and I'm not nurturing and catering Princess. And then in my tone, I don't hear the difference. I'm like, all right, and I think that's what I'm learning. Like, we do real estate together, and then even though he's part of Amira Rose, I'm the face, he's still behind helping me out, talking with my assistant. And so I just feel like you have to put the love first, you have to put the marriage first, and everything else will come underneath that. And so that's what I'm just trying to do. I'm trying to focus on honoring my marriage, honoring my commitment that I made to him, and then honoring the commitment that I made to God as well, and putting God first. Like really just trying to really follow that paradigm, like God first, yourself, your spouse, really trying to do that. And just remember that I used to always like to be right. I want to be right. I don't always have to be right. I don't always have to be right. I can apologize sometimes. I can say I'm sorry. I don't have to always have a response, because sometimes my super strength as a woman is my vulnerability, is me being quiet. Because if I'm quiet, he's like, oh, something. But me going back and forth, he never hears me. He will never hear me. So what I'm focusing on, what I'm noticing is that when my marriage is good and it's solid and we're in sync with each other, business is flowing. Business is good. When it's not in sync and we're not one, it's chaotic. So I just really been focusing on putting that marriage first, putting that commitment that I made to him, he made to me first, ensuring that love, respect, and honor, and then also cutting business off, like you said, Dr. Pope, cutting it off. Like, no, do not disturb. I can't text you back. I can't respond to you because I'm with my husband. And then I don't care if we're just sitting on the couch or I don't know, that's our time, and taking it and then honoring that time.
That's you up there nodding your whole head. She's like, yeah.
Yeah.
What do you want to add to that? 'Cause
Y'all, my spirit is on fire today. The energy in this room is just amazing. I want to support all of that, right? I also want to say I have a very unorthodox route. And this is why it's so important for you to figure out what works for you in your system. I was married. We had a very traumatic early marriage. We lost a child very early when he was very young and nothing. And I was very young at the time. I was like 21 when I got married and had this child. There was nothing but trauma for a few years later. However, I divorced that man. Went ahead and made my millions. That's my truth, right? My head went into that game. I'm a single mother. I'm going to build for these children. Nothing else matters, blocks it off. And then I went back and we've been together many, many years since. So I'm currently married to my ex-husband. So I say that to say, though, I did need my space in that, though. I needed to find my voice. I needed to find my success. I needed to find the path that would drive my soul and that wasn't attached to anything anybody else gave me. When I was able to do that and find my voice and have my own, I was able to bring that back and say, now I'm whole. Now we could build, right? And so even today, things have changed. I absolutely make less money. I absolutely travel more, right? And spend more time with my family. And that's okay. I've also had to carve out sections in which the land building I do, that's my hobby. I really, really, really love buying and developing lands. He's a part of that business with me and our real estate investments. But my hospital building, unorthodox, that's mine and I need it. So I say that to say, figure out what the priorities are in your relationship and honor that. That needs to happen first, right? I want you to honor yourself in the midst of that too. Just because you're married or just because you're single and dating does not determine what you can create in this world. It's about what your soul needs to thrive. I'll leave it with that.
Thank you, Tiffany. Thank you,
I
Tiffany.
just want to say, I love what you said about you having to be you. And you having to identify who you are within your coupledom, because you are still a whole individual. So I'm taking that nugget. First of all, you got me when you said, yeah, my husband, I divorced him, but I'm married again to him.
Life be lifing.
And they have beautiful kids. Y'all got to see them kids. They're so beautiful.
Awesome. I wanted to offer that earlier on in my journey, before actually committing full time to working with my husband, I've only been doing it for a year, but we've always, when I say always, call Khalid my purpose partner. I call my husband my purpose partner. I remember that was the first question I asked him. When I was trying to get him away from me, like thought he was trying to hit on me. I was like, sir, do you know your purpose? Like I was trying to, like, guys don't usually like talk about their purpose or church, their relationship with, or the guys that were attracted to me didn't know how to answer those questions. But I remember that was the first question. I was like, okay, evening's wrapping up. We were in Harlem at Sylvana's and I'm ready to go home. And I'm just like, sir, okay, you're in my face, but do you know your purpose? And I was so moved by that, his answer. And it's crazy. We've been married for 7 years now, known each other, just celebrated 8 years of just knowing each other. And it's like he's still on that thing that he told me that in that moment. But this is what I'm on. Like he was excited that he finally got someone to talk about his purpose. But I felt like I did the work to know mine. I went through counseling programs. I had my master's in counseling. I'm helping other people know their purpose. Do you know your purpose? I don't want to be with anybody that doesn't know their purpose. So to me, I think like when you join that closely with someone, it is important to pick somebody who can support your journey and you support theirs. And it's like you're so close to them. You can kill, like there are dream killers out here. There are people who you tell something you're working on and then they make a noise. They don't get excited. Like, oh, I have an idea. If I have an idea, it's time to, like Keisha knows I have an idea. I create a flyer. Like, I don't even know who I'm about to share it with. I got to create a flyer to tell people something's about to happen. Like, it's so important to me. Like your partner has to kind of share in that energy. And I think like your loving relationships. I look to my business partner because she is my friend. And we are very careful about protecting our friendship and our business relationship. I jokingly tell Keisha she has to take me to court to undo our relationship. Like there has to be some legal documents or restraining order, something. Like we can't just like, I'm mad at you, I'm not texting you. So I think like romantic love, I have my love between my sister, my friend of 18 years, and we're business partners too. And she's better at some things than I am, but it's like being mindful of our purpose and all these things. Like even the areas that overlap for us is important, as well as the areas that we kind of vary in the skills that she has that I don't. It's like when you know your purpose, when you're clear about your purpose and your business partners or your romantic partners are too, I feel like you can go so far. And it's important that you check in with yourself to say, what's my purpose? What am I here for? What's going on? If I would die tomorrow, would I fulfill what I was supposed to fulfill? And I'm always asking those existential questions because I'm a counselor, but I'm in great company because you all are brilliant too. So that's it.
Perfect. Thank you, Farah.
Yeah, so obviously I'm not in a relationship right now. I mean, maybe that's not obvious, but I'm not. So what I will say is that in terms of relationships, in terms of sisterhood and friendship, that's something that I've had to work on, because you can get lost in the shuffle of just like trying to build your business. Or if you're like me, I'm a serial entrepreneur, so I do a bunch of different things. But I've had to learn to be intentional. You know, I'm really, really close to my sisters, and we have we just celebrated my baby sister. She turned 22 the other day, and we went to dinner last night and all that. And so just like carving out these moments to be intentional with one another has become super important for us. So anytime we have our birthdays, we have a whole weekend and we do a girls trip, or we get an Airbnb, do a staycation, something like that, where we just really tune into one another and be intentional. And that was important for us, because growing up, we didn't really, like, we grew up in the same house, but it wasn't until maybe I was in middle school that we started taking time to even get to know one another. You know, again, going back to pop culture and what the media tells you your relationship is supposed to look like, we thought sisters were supposed to be at each other's throats. I'm bullying you, you're bullying me, we don't like each other, these are my friends, you go sit down, get out of my face. And we got to a point where we understood, like, no, wait, we need each other, you know, because we have these friends, but when you change grades in school, you may or may not even be cool with them. You go to a different school, leave that city, you still have your sisters. And so that taught us to really take time for one another and ask each other, how are you feeling? Apologize. You know, we just recently had a moment where we had to sit down and be like, look, I'm sorry, I blew up, that was wrong, you know, instead of just going at each other's throats and just leaving it there. And we even had a conversation the other day too about how we've been breaking generational curses. You know, we've seen sisters be bitter and angry and still walk in the room and go to the family reunion, hey, how you doing? And never speak to each other again. But we're very intentional about spending time with each other. If I'm in the middle of working, my sister comes to me crying, I'm like, okay, put the laptop down. Let me take a breath. Hold on. Let me finish this thought. Okay, what do you need? You know, and just being there for one another. Dr. Go said, what about love and business? How's this shown up for you? I will say, in terms of that, previously, that was one of a big issue for me, was with all of the things that were already here before you got here, and now you're trying to pull those away from me. I couldn't have that. Like Tiffany said, your passion and that thing that drives you, that you know you're absolutely called to do, you have to do it with all of your heart and with all of your mind. And if you're in a relationship with someone or getting to know someone who's threatening that, then you really do have to make a decision. Do I value the relationship more of this person, or do I value my purpose and my call? And for me, I had to choose my purpose and my call. And I always tell my dad, if the love was there, I would have stayed, but he ain't like me anyway. So, so I got out of there, chose my purpose, and I'll be all right. We'll try again next time, you know? But I am looking forward to getting to know someone new whenever that happens. I got my eye on somebody, we'll see what happens, but I'm interested to see. And then I'm thankful also for the lessons that I learned through that, you know, just like being in such a, like Sharky said, such a close relationship with someone, than being all up in here, you know, and the lessons that I've learned on how to balance that sort of a relationship and how to flow in that. Like Princess said, learning when to fall back a little bit, let you do you, and you'll come back and apologize because you know I'm right anyway, you know, like let me fall back, focus on what I got to focus on, and we'll be okay. But understanding how to fall back and just let you do you. You know, I have my things going on, but Boss Babe Farah can't always be Boss Babe Farah in this area. Sometimes I gotta, you know, let you step up for your sake of your ego or how you're feeling, and let you take the lead. And then in those moments where I need you to hone into me, being able to voice that, vocalize it. Hey, look, I know you're dealing with what you're doing, but I need you to understand communication. Lack of communication is one of the most silent yet deadly killers in any relationship. And so I've always been big on communication, but even more so understanding that in a relationship, especially a marriage or some sort of romantic relationship, you have to communicate, because I can't read your mind. You can't read my mind. I'm in the middle of focusing on something because I have a deadline. Instead of brushing you off, sitting and taking a moment, like, okay, is what you need to talk about pressing? Like, is this something we need to address now, or can it wait until I'm done with this? And just being graceful and gentle in my approach. So I did definitely learn a lot through that experience. Looking forward to applying it again. Try again. Hopefully we get it right. If not, try again until we get it right, you know? So that's how it's kind of shown up for me in business and entrepreneurship.
All right, thank you, Farrah. And that's true. It's all about resilience, right? It's about what we get from one experience and then take it back. And then even if typically we're repeating experience, but having a whole new experience within that experience, right? Because we all learn from what we go through, our trials, tribulations. That goes back to what I said to you initially, taking what we went through in the past and using it to shift for who we are today, right? And it's so important as we lead through our lives. Okay, so I'm going to make this our last question for this piece here. Because I know we all talk about dollar bills, right? And everybody equates money with this level of winning. Nobody's gonna sit here and say, well, I don't need any money. I'm gonna be fine. That's not the truth. And we all know that's not the truth, right? Because we want to go on vacation, we need a couple of dollars to do so. We know we want to go out to eat, we need to do that. We want to hang out with your people, we need to do that too, right? So talk to me about, as an entrepreneur, how have finances affected your ability to win?
I was waiting for this question because I used to think that, well, I'll say this, I used to view my lack of cash flow as the worst thing possible. And I mentioned to you before, I was in Jamaica, had really, really hard time. Then I stumbled on the work of author Seth Godin, and one of the things that he says is you've got to have constraints, and you can have the constraint of not having money, which is great, because that means you have to be ingenuitive. What's the word? Somebody come on.
Having ingenuity.
Ingenuity. You have to have ingenuity. Thank you. You have to, and that's exactly what I had to do. And it gives you a perspective. I think now that the cash is flowing, it's an indication of winning at a certain level. But back to that mindset, it's having the mindset happens first before the cash flow can come, I think. But I mean, hey, I'm not knocking the cash flow. Happy about that. But I think the mindset. So the question is, right? What impact does finances have? It has an impact to the extent, I believe, that you allow it to hold you back, because having that constraint of not having as much cash on hand gives you an advantage to do anything and go up from there. So that's what I think now. The Eva of 10, 15 years ago, she was like, girl, please, can you pay the light bill? That's what I need right now. But you know, I ended up going to a friend's house, using their internet, you know, using my relationships to pull a summit together and get my first clients through that. You know, you don't have to have money to start, but you do need it to grow. The bigger you get, you'll need more.
Yeah, thank you, Eva. Who would like to step on that question too? Go ahead, Tiffany.
Well, finances becomes a huge part, I think, of an entrepreneurial journey. For me, initially, it was the lack of finances was my driver, right? And so because there was no money to start a business and there was no money in the bank, right? I also felt like I had nothing to lose. Just go hard, right? I honestly feel like finances become a huge stressor the more you gain. I'm going to be very honest. In the early stages, I was ambitious. I had nothing to lose. I was willing to put it all on the line. I just needed to eat. And I want to say finances was important, right? Because you don't have money early in business. My kids was eating SpaghettiOs out the can. I was going hungry. We were on food stamps. We were on Medicaid. This is absolutely part of my journey. But I needed that to go as hard as I went in that season. If I wasn't hungry, I wouldn't have produced what I produce now. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not as hungry no more, right? So I'm just not working as much no more. And that is the truth. So finances can be a driver for you. It also needs to be a red light for you. At some point, you have to say how much is enough. What does success look like for me, and how do I know when I've gotten there? When do I need more finances? A lot of people start businesses and don't recognize what's coming in or what's going out. So finances are absolutely part of every step of your entrepreneurial journey and should be considered in every season. It cannot be the determining factor for your happiness long-term or your health long-term. You got to figure out how the finances play into those areas.
Yeah, thank you. Farah?
I'll say for me, a lot of people thought I was crazy when I first decided to do the Elite Society because I had no money to invest in the Elite Society. And I just got to be transparent. I was sitting one day, I brought on a bunch of PR clients at one time, and all of their contracts were ending at the exact same time. And that was my livelihood. You know, that was $1,500 a month per client for months at a time. Now, all of a sudden, they're all coming to a halt at the same time. And I'm like, oh boy, what am I going to do? And I was sitting there and I literally heard the Lord say, you're going on tour. And I'm like, okay. And he shows me the list of cities in my mind of where I'm going. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'm doing it. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it. And I didn't have the capital for it. I did not know people in these cities. I didn't know what I was going to be doing. And all of my other finances were tied up in the other businesses, making those things flow. And so I sat down, I put like Sharky said, I put a flyer together. I posted it on my story. I was like, if I went on a tour and I came to this city, who would show up? All the people that said they would show up absolutely did not. That's usually how it goes, right? But it was successful, and I didn't know where the capital was coming from. And so for me, it was more about faith. You know, I was like, God tells me I'm doing it, I'm doing it. And when I tell you, I did not come out of pocket for not a hotel room, not a venue. Flights were taken care of. I had sponsors coming out of the woodworks. I had people calling me like, hey, how can I be a part of this tour? I love what you're doing. I had people giving money into the scholarship and the grants. And it was literally taken care of from start to finish. And I didn't have to spend a dime. But for me, in my walk, in my belief system, God told me to do it. And even in the moments I would start to stress, I'm like, look, this is your thing. I did not say I was going on tour. You gave me this. And so I'm gonna let you fit the bill. And that's exactly what happened. Now, there have been other cases where I do have other dreams. You know, I write things down. I want to have my own, facility one day. And there's all these things that I want to do for the university. But I just write it down and I'm working towards those goals. I'm like, okay, so then we need to bring in X amount a month. We need to be putting up X amount a month, balancing out those expenses and the income to see what are the goals, what do we want to achieve, and how do we need to get there. So in some cases, like I said, with the tour, I didn't know where that was coming from and I didn't spend a dime on it. And it was taken care of, even the meals, everything, the food was taken care of, just people just giving, out of their obedience and what they felt led to do and to be able to bless other people. So in that specific situation, I couldn't worry about finances. I had to just operate in faith and let God do it. But in other cases, I have to really sit down and strategize, and then not allowing myself to be discouraged when I can't, but also, like you said, Tiffany, knowing when is too much, when do I need to go ahead and cap it, not being greedy, not trying to, bite off more than you can chew, but saying, okay, we've reached the goal. Now let's go ahead with this dream and start working towards the next.
Yeah, I think that's I like that you talk about these dreams, these things. I have my wall over here that you guys can't see. It's full of Post-its, and it's all my thoughts and dreams. And they aspire to. I'm a Post-it queen. I put all my Post-its up all the time, and there's things up there, and it's like I'm always happy with. Oh, I got that one, yay, right? But then there's like 40 other ones still sitting there. But I'll get there someday. But it is about working towards all those individualized things, and then just also just manifesting whatever you want, because the universe is going to give us whatever want. You just have to ask for it. And with asking for it comes the work towards accomplishing it, because we know there's steps to get where we need to go. So, finances are a big part. I guess, my relationship with money, of course, I didn't grow up with it. So I didn't have a relationship with money. Money was like, you just had it and you spent it. You brought things, right? And then I had to really start to refigure what that looked like and what that meant to me, and writing down numbers so I can get a better understanding with money. And even still today, going on 43, I'm still working on my relationship with money, because it's how you grow up and you learn certain things, those habits come back, and then you're like, no, you don't do that. What's wrong with you? You know better now, right? No, don't do it, Chloe. So I stopped. But it's just really about, just understanding what those finances look like. So in the interest of time, because I want to make sure we have enough time to go to background. So I'm going to open up the floor for any questions that anybody have for any of the speakers. And you also have the opportunity to go into our breakouts in a few minutes after this movement breaks. I know people probably need to get up and move their bodies to be able to reach back to some of the presenters. So anybody have any questions so far? I know, Lisa, you had a question early on.
Hello?
Yeah, there you go, Lisa. What was your question, love?
Okay. I had a question in reference to the thing that a few people mentioned as far as the age that we're in with social media and, the world getting smaller. How do you find yourself dealing with the white noise, meaning the things we're talking about with the facade that people like to show on the internet and to the world, that they're doing so amazing and they have all these things going? How do you, if you do, how do you avoid, or how do you find yourself dealing with the questions you have within yourself and your progress based off of what you see, and then having to also realize what you see is not also what it is?
Anybody answer that question?
Yeah, I'd love to answer that. So for me, being someone who works in social media, and I've been coaching people for a long time and doing social media marketing, and it's just something I love. Like, I don't know why, I've always loved it. My dad shut down my Twitter when I was 15 because I got like 8,000 followers in 3 days, literally, because I was just tweeting away and connecting with people. Like, that's just who I am. I connect. And he thought I was addicted. And I went to click in a pin and he's like, see, you're addicted. I'm like, no, I'm just bored. But anyway, so social media has always come supernatural to me. So for me, on the back end, understanding that social media in a lot of cases is much more about presentation than authenticity, it has caused me to sit back and realize that what you see is not always what you get, right? You want a picture to look beautiful. You want a picture to be worth 1,000 words. And when you look at it, you're just really like engaging with it, and it's just mesmerizing. You want that experience, on the back end, again, working with businesses and wanting them to present themselves well to the world. I understand that. And so in the moments where I have looked at a photo and I'm like, man, they're probably doing super well. They're better off than me. Their business is thriving more than me, or they seem more secure in their life. I have to take a step back. So therefore, I'm not going on social media for a few days. I'm taking a complete break to get myself in check, because any of the experiences that we have in life, whether it's in our relationships, how we're perceiving the world, how we're weighing ourselves in comparison to someone else, it has nothing to do with them. It's about us. That person can go ahead and post online and act like her life is good all she wants. But if her life is not actually good, she has to deal with that at the end of the day. That's not my problem. My problem is how I feel about myself after consuming her content, after listening to her speak. So I have to put myself back in check and take a step back, it's easier said than done sometimes. But I have to take a step back and say, okay, I'm going to discipline myself and stay off social media for 3 days, for a week, for a month, even if I need to, which I spent a year off social media at one point. It was the best year of my life. It was great. You see who really cares about you, out of sight, out of mind. So you're seeing who's really checking for you. You're not thinking about posting all the time. You're not going into a restaurant, taking pictures, just to post, but you're either taking the photo because you want to, or you're enjoying the moment. So social media breaks are absolutely needed, especially if you're comparing yourself or looking at someone else's success and it makes you feel bad about yourself. Take a step back, check yourself, do your checks and balances. Like, what are the pros and cons of my life? Is what I'm feeling even true? Am I less successful because I don't look like this? No. I have my family. I have a successful relationship. My businesses are doing well. I have a great mental health state. Like, I've worked really hard to get where I am and become who I am. I've worked through all the hard stuff. So what I'm feeling is really just, it's a lie. I'm comparing myself to something that one, I don't even know if it's true or not. And two, I know my truth. I know the work that I've done to become who I am, to reach the goals that I've reached. And maybe my goals are not this person's level. Maybe they're over here, but I know that I've climbed from way down here to get where I am. So them being here doesn't take anything away from who I am. I'm still working, I'm still building, I'm still growing, I'm still learning, and eventually I'll get there or further. And again, 90% of the time, people are not posting their authentic way on social media. My sisters laugh at me sometimes because they'll take a picture, they're like, filter or no filter? And I'm like, no filter. I don't know, because I want you, when you meet me, I want you to be like, damn girl, you look like your picture. Like, that's what I want, you know? And so I try to show up as myself as much as I possibly can. So I know I said a lot, but I hope that helped.
No, I think that was a great response. Okay,
And
we
I
have
also
any? Go ahead, Sharky.
I do believe that I grew up in a household where I looked a little different than my sisters. Both my sisters, I have an older sister, she's my half sister, but we don't even use that term. But my younger sister, it just so happens that they look more alike than me. So like, I feel like sometimes like even physically, I felt like a little different. I'm still dark and slender. Both my sisters are light and a little bit heavier than me. So I felt like the cousin sometimes. So I think sometimes when I thought about growing up, it's like, I think comparison is the thief of joy. And I think sometimes when my Instagram's craziest thing, I do a lot of social media too. I'm telling stories. Like, I get it. I love the lights. Sometimes I'm taking pictures. Lights. I didn't say likes. I love the lights, in a sense that like sometimes I have to like I do a lot of storytelling for a startup. Like, we have to paint a picture bigger than what we are, right? And it worked for us, like raising capital, raising awareness, getting bigger brands to work with us. All that stuff is true. And I think it's a part of the magic. I do identify with my creative side and my artistic side, because sometimes I am undone. Like, I have a messy bun today and I'm like, oh no, this isn't as laid as I know it can be. But I was like, that's a version of me. Like that too is me. Now you can go look at my edges are perfectly laid, but this is me on a Saturday morning. I just finished, like Earth Day, like planting trees. Like, I'm good. I'm okay. That's a part. But I think authentically, that is the fullness of the story. Like, when I'm snatched, that's me. When I'm not, that's me too. Like, I think motherhood forced me to embrace, like, I'm putting on these jeans. They don't fit too well, whatever. Who cares? Like, that's the fullness of my experience. And I didn't always embrace it. I recently went back and shared something about, I would not post my belly. Like, I didn't like the melanated line coming down. That's the first time I've ever seen my stomach that big when I was pregnant. And then I went back like 2 Mother's Days ago and was like, I've taken all of these pictures and I hid them from everybody because I didn't like what my body was going through. And it was beautiful. So sometimes I think when you compare, and I think sometimes I use my Instagram as an inspiration when people share like their reels or what they're going through. I'm inspired. I feel like I'm the type that will DM you and be like, oh, you know somebody, can you introduce me? Like, if I feel that there's any comparison, I'm like, that's your homegirl, that's your classmate, that's Dr. Glow. Asks, hey, can I speak at that event? Or hey, can I be a part of that? Or how can I help you? Or how can I serve you? So I feel like if I'm following people that I feel intimidated by or jealous, I need to unfollow them, because something's happening in my mind, because anybody who lets me into their journey is sharing a part of their journey, whether it's polished, whether it's some version that they paid, whether it's, they're inviting me into their journey. And if I'm not supporting or encouraging or uplifting them or uplifted by their content, maybe I shouldn't follow that energy. And I do follow very strict, no posting diets, restrictions. Like, I will go ghost, especially on my personal page. Sometimes I'm like, I don't care. I don't care what you're doing. I don't care to share what I'm doing. Who cares? And then sometimes I share. So I have an on again, off again relationship with my personal, but my Connect Instagram, I post a lot there, but it's more of the polished content. It's the highlight reel. I don't tell you that Keisha and I was running and we were late to an event. I don't tell you all that. I get it too. So I think sometimes you have to check yourself, and definitely don't wake up and feed your mind content. Like, wake up, meditate, pray, talk to whatever God you serve, get in tune with yourself before you even consume that content, because it is addictive. And algorithms, I want y'all to know that, Minnesota just banned TikTok. That stuff is it is addictive. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I think we all know it, but we really need to unplug. It's someone like last week was like, oh my God, I couldn't get in touch with you all Sunday. And I was like, by intent. Like, that was very much on purpose. I was like, I unplugged. Like I do a lot of social media handling. I cannot all the time follow Instagram, LinkedIn, all these stories. I'm like, I'm done. So like, yeah, watch your minds. There are algorithms that are changing the way you think about content and your own story too. So yeah.
Perfect.
I
Do you have any? Okay, Princess.
I just want to touch, I'll be quick. I like what you said about if you're following someone and whatever you're following is triggering something in you, because you still have unhealed parts in yourself, unfollow them. I think also too, just recently I added someone in to do my social media for me because I found myself scrolling, wasting time in that spirit of comparison. And then I had to stop and be like, you know what? Start praising them, start connecting. So I always share. I like everybody's stuff. If you post it, I'ma like it. My husband like, why you like their stuff? You don't like, they don't like your stuff. I'm like, you know what? I don't care. Like I'm not gonna stop being me. I like to motivate people. I like to say, you go girl. I like to do all that. And then it turns social media into something positive for me versus it being a comparison. And then I like to go ghost. I was in the airport, my phone died. I was sitting there for 4 hours. I'm like, I think I should get a charger. Someone's probably trying to call me. I have a closing today, but I do feel like social media is a good source. And that's why I'm going to connect with the great people on here to build my social media presence. Because the whole goal of it for me is to expand my brand, to get more business, to get more opportunities, but not for it to still kill and destroy me. I'm not going to do that. And I probably was there a year ago, but that's growth for me now.
Yeah, that's all definitely amazing. Definitely amazing. So do you have any other questions from the room for the panelists this morning? I think you guys have really spoken so much and touched on so many different things that I wanted to get across. Any other questions? Janine,
I
go ahead.
wanted to go back to Keisha when she was talking about redefining productivity. So I'm one probably similar like you at a time where I feel like I'm not being as productive as I may or may not be. So I feel like I do a lot of things, but then I also feel like I don't do the things that I should be doing in a given time. So then I feel like I failed in the things I set out to do for that day. So just to expound a little bit on that and how to shift that mindset.
I have a kind of 3 months out planner for myself, like big goals, long term, short terms, and in big bold letters at the top, I have like benchmarks or tools and not to be abused. Sometimes I feel like we forget. It served a purpose to help guide us, right? Give us direction, give us information, like non-judgmental information, like I want this and I'm not here yet, and we take it to another level, this unproductive level of judgment and just being unkind to ourselves. So just continually reminding yourself that it's just data, right? I found it incredibly healing and I think, Eva, I think you used the word about like honoring. You were talking about honoring the connection between mind and body, not just recognizing that it's there, but honoring it in you acknowledging the fullness of what you do. You're really honoring the fullness of you. So I know it feels like a ritual. I literally in my planner write down the productivity power I engaged in, but that's a part of forcing myself to honor all of what I do to show up for myself. And yeah, it's just recurring conversations. I'm still waiting for, like, you can know things here cognitively, right? And there's levels of knowing, and I want it to like permeate and just like sit with peace in my soul and my spirit. But I find the ritual of just saying it and saying it and saying it again and reminding myself like to be less judgmental. It will connect over time.
I'm sorry. I wanted to also offer that, Keisha, this framework, we did a series called Reset and Reconnect during the pandemic to really help process the anti-Black racism. It was a digital, that was our first attempts with offering counseling in a place of elevation online. But when I say that I learned so much, this framework should be packaged and sold. Like Keisha really, and I think because I had this big sis relationship with Keisha too, where it's like I met her as a freshman in undergrad, and Keisha was a year older than me, and I was so impressed. Keisha's like taking Arabic. She's a psychology major. Arabic, one of the most difficult languages, like I thought at the time. Well, I still do. But she has like this jam-packed schedule. I looked up to her. She's a grade ahead of me, and I didn't see too many urban. I'm from Washington, D.C. Keisha was from New York, and I was just like, oh, she's urban and she's dope and she's all these things. But to watch women who are like powerhouses say, my peace or my productivity is busting a wine and listening to soca and cooking. And it's like, it gives you permission to say, oh, these high powered women take moments to themselves and that adds to their productivity. So I would love, like, if we can talk about that during our breakout session, but I was so moved by it. Just really owning that. And in this pandemic, I'm not going to go crazy because I have all these tools to really identify how I'm performing and measuring that and celebrating these moments, these breaks, especially as creatives, especially as people who pour out, like educators, counselors, social workers. We're constantly pouring out. It's like, what does it mean to fill me up so that I can continue to lead? So.
Dr. Gold, can I add two quick check boxes that may be helpful? So one of the contracts we have through Paradigm is doing executive coaching with larger financial firms and so forth, but I tend to see all the women executives in these financial and legal firms. And the two themes that consistently come up is it worth it? Women are always questioning when we make it to the top, is it worth it, right? And number two, work-life balance and time management. So let's talk about the second one really fast. I'll put a resource in the chat in a second in a PDF. It's called a balance wheel that we published that's been working really well with these organizations. This is not a day-to-day. This is saying in order for me to feel whole in any day, I had to touch these subjects. On that day, I had 7 subjects, so it has 7 bubbles. If you have 5, have 5. If you want to add 7 more bubbles, add 7 more bubbles. But the idea is when I'm feeling off and lacking productivity, I go back to this as my North Star. What did I not touch? On mine, it says, spending time with God and meditation, right? Making sure that I've eaten well because I'm either under eating or overeating. So mine has the particular areas that allow me to feel whole. And when I'm off and not productive, I'm coming back to that and saying, what am I not staying in line with? Number one. Number two, every single day, I look at my schedule for the next day. At 5 p.m. at the end of my day, I'm looking at my schedule for the next day, and I am taking out the unblocked moments. So if I have from 12 to 12:15, I'm highlighting that. There's no meeting scheduled in there. From 1 to 2 p.m., I don't have a meeting scheduled. I'm highlighting that. When I have all my highlighted slots, I'm now looking at my to-do list, whether it's running or for the next day, and I'm plugging those into those specific time slots. So if I have 15 minutes and I know I need to send some emails that I haven't sent all week, I'm plugging that into the 15 minutes. And that's going to stay on my calendar for tomorrow, email time. People laugh at me all the time. Tiffany schedules in nap times in those highlighted sections. And so part of my self-care is I love naps, right? If there's a day with extra highlights, I schedule my nap time and I'm not answering the phone. I'm not talking to a client. I don't care if money comes up after I made that list. I'm not answering the phone, that call because it's attached to that nap time. That helps me to stay productive, and it also helps me to maximize on time. The last one, I know I said there was 2, figure out what you can do that can be done simultaneously or delegated. I don't grocery shop. Everything is through Instacart. I'm not spending hours a week in a grocery store when I can pay $10 a month and somebody does that for me. That saves me hours a week, right? I always watch my Netflix, my series in my ear when I'm cooking or when I'm doing laundry, right? So what am I delegating? What am I doubling up on? And how do I maximize in the time and the days? That's how I look at productivity.
Those were all great. Those were all great. Wonderful. And in regards to productivity and time, I need to move my body very often. So we are now going to move into, we'll schedule for 15 minutes. We're going to do a 10-minute movement break. So we're at 12:40, it's about 12:51-ish too. You'll see me come back on live and when we get started and go directly into breakout rooms after we play a quick game. So this is time for you all to grab a snack, go to the bathroom, run outside and get some sun. That's probably exactly what I'm going to do. Go outside because the sun is out. I thought it was supposed to rain today. It's not raining right now. I'm going to absorb it and then I'm going to come back to you all. But this has been great so far. And I love to see you guys when we come back. So about 10 minutes. See you all real soon. All right, we are back, everybody. Give everybody some time to load into this fun game because I'm all about the win. So if you never played Kahoot before, it's very simple. You can use a QR code or you can go to the website and put in the PIN and then you'll get loaded onto the game. So give everybody a couple of minutes to join on. We'll start at about 55. One of those challenges to see, are you smarter than a fifth grader? And trust me, I went through this one already and I lost
right
that.
now. So go ahead, go.
I just
No, I
want to
said I did this one already that we're gonna do.
I am not smarter than the fifth grader. Don't come to me and ask for no homework help. Email your teacher. I don't know. My daughter came in yesterday, 2 days ago. She was like, "Mom, go ask your sister, or we gonna have to go to Google because I'm not."
I got nothing for this new age math. You hear me? But I'm gonna try.
One thing. Nothing.
Yeah, but it's not math though. It's going to be something that we all should know a little bit about or think we know about. So it's going to be a lot of fun. You're going to walk away knowing something new. All right, so we give one more minute. I think, let me see. Everybody's back. Yes, 13 people. Okay. Okay, somebody's bounced off some gets up. There you go. Okay, so we got about 30 more seconds. We're gonna have to get started. Let's see who is not on. I know Lisa is driving now. Okay, Jamie, I was looking for you. Jamie, are you there, Jamie? All right, 10, 9, 8. Okay, Jamie's coming back late from the break. All right, so if you've never played Kahoot before, it's very basic. All it really is on your screen, on your phone, or whatever device you use, probably on your phone, is going to give you an option to press a different color to respond to your answer. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Best of luck to the winner. All right, y'all, speed matters. The answer.
Can we get the answer?
Yes, number 2. Red. Ursula Burns from Xerox.
Oh, yeah.
All right, here we go. And the scoreboard. Sharky was the correct answer and the quickest to answer. Perfect. Next question. Ooh, let's see who won. Oh, Sharky showing she's smarter than a fifth grader.
We just like these money questions.
All right, here we go. Next question. Miss Sharon Bowen. Oh, Sharky's on fire. They gave me a little fire.
Money team, let's go.
All right, let's go. Oh, look at you all. Wow, here we go. Okay, Eva, I see you in the back down there coming up a little bit. Mm. Hmm. Patricia Roberts Harris. Interesting. Oh, phenomenal has come up, and now she's on fire with a new streak, 3 in a row, creeping right behind Sharky. Let's see, we've got a couple of questions left. Mm. All right, let's see. Only one person. Oh, Sharky, you're still winning. Here we go. All right, next. Mm. Mm. All righty then. And here we go. Final question, everybody. Final question. All right, Princess, you made the podium. Stacy, all right. Look at you, Sharky. You are the winner. Yay.
This was so fun.
It was fun. What is that? That was really fun. And I'm so crazy.
Agreed. I've never done that.
That was really fun. And I love how everything was about money. What was going on?
Well, that's called Kahoot, and it's an app that you can load into your Zoom account. Yeah, I used it for some workshop I did one time, and I just went on there. It is the version I use is free, and you can just add little games into your workshops and make things a little bit more engaging.
Oh, I thought
they had that one. This one's perfect. Yeah, see, Sharon is caring out here. I'm happy that you all enjoyed it. So welcome back from your movement break. I hope everybody got their brain back up and running. And Sharky, you have won yourself a free ticket to the retreat, by the way.
Oh, sorry. I love winning. I love winning, guys. I'm taking somebody else. So Tiffany, Princess, Farah, like everybody can come with me.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. All right, so now we're going to break out into our breakout rooms. Okay, so how this is going to work is we're going to put a time on the clock. In the interest of time, we're going to take it from 30 minutes to about 20-minute sessions, because a lot of people are not necessarily in the space. All right, and we all know she's going to take Keisha because Keisha's like the love of her life. All right, and so if we press the bottom on the bottom, press up breakout room, it's going to be able to see everybody's name. And you can go from room to room, however you feel. Okay. Even as a presenter, I kind of want you to kind of stay in your room because somebody might want to come see you. But, you know, if you're kind of sitting there like you're by yourself, you're like, well, screw it, I'm out. Go ahead and go to a different room and they might find you somewhere else. All right. So we go ahead and get started. I'm going to put about a 20-minute timer on my clock here. I'll also be bouncing around from room to room because I have questions from
Y'all left our own breakout room.
Breakout people. I said, I'm leaving. I'm going to, I'm moving to another session.
Yes, we did.
We
didn't know we
needed
could
2
do
breakout sessions from each person so we could at least go to each 2 sessions, because once you get into a room, it was hard to leave. It was so good.
The energy was good.
I'm happy that you all connected that way, that y'all didn't want to leave each other in the space. But that's the good thing about being able to schedule like real life conversations and connecting with people outside of this and nurturing these connections that you made today with these individuals and building on these relationships. Because I know everybody in the space is open and willing to do that. Right? People are willing to say, hey, yeah, I'm in your city. You want to go to lunch? Like, go hang out, chill. Like, even set up a Zoom call and just sit with each other and just be in community with each other. And that's how you really build up who you are, right? And find that space, because you all know through our sharing today that we're all so alike in so many different ways. There's something about each of you that connects to each of us. So it's just like, it's easy for us to find ways to find people who are in the same lane, doing the same work that we're all trying to do. And that's why I appreciate when people come to these types of things with me, because you end up finding people like, oh, they're dope. They're just like me. And they'll talk to me, because sometimes it's hard to find individuals who want to have these types of conversations. They'll sit there and say, okay, listen, like I was shared in Connect's group that I had a very powerful phone call the other day with an agency, because I'm looking about funding for the Daisy Dream Project, my nonprofit, right? Because I'm really focused on that is my plan for freedom. That's what I'm going to be doing until I'm 90 years old, getting this nonprofit started and everything else, and shifting my energy from me renting my brain power to other people who pay me. Right? I'm no longer want to do that. So I have to figure out what I'm developing for myself to sustain, also which brings me joy, right? And my nonprofit brings me joy. Black Girl, everything brings me joy. So by the time I'm 45, I have now 26 months to make it. That's all I do, right? 26 months, right? So, but with that, through that conversation I had with them, is like I found someone who shared for free, because I told them I couldn't afford their $15,000 a month of retainer. I ain't got that type of money. I couldn't even afford their $3,000 a month online version. I was like, I ain't got that type of money either. So she's like, I like you. I said, I like you too. So she stayed on the phone with me for a whole nother hour and just shared with me information on things I can do on my own. So now, since she gave me access to that information, I'm going to be digging into it, and I'll be sharing that with other individuals as well. So it's just about, you don't know who you can connect with, who's going to connect you with somebody else that is going to offer you something that's going to be life-changing. And her only thing was like, yo, I know you're going to get this money. So when you get it, just remember to call me. I said, I'm going to call you. I put her name on my board, right? And it's up there. And then it's like, so I'm going to do all this work on my own, that she gave me these steps of things to do. But when I start making this money, because I'm going to be making this money that I'm going to need to do this, I'm going to contact her team and her retainer to do the work for me. It's going to be great. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. And I'm just so blessed that she felt the need to share that with me, right? So it's all about connections, everybody. Keep connecting, keep connecting, keep connecting, and the honor of connect. Because first of all, when I started Black Girl Everything, they started connecting around the same time. And I had nothing to do in Mount Vernon one day. And I was like, I'm going outside. And I'm going outside. I can't do this no more. And I found them on Eventbrite, one of their first events in the backyard. And I showed up and been in love ever since. Right? And that's what it's been. And I've grown. I've met people through their network who's extended my network and have had conversations with. So it's been amazing thus far. So we're going to move into our final parts of today. And who would like to play another game? All right, there's one game that I really am looking for. And I've tried it. It was so much fun. And it was really, really interesting. So while I look for that, so why don't you guys just start telling me what is one takeaway that you've had so far in this process today? Somebody share something.
How much we need each other. That has become so apparent, how much power we have amongst each other and how we can bless one another in this journey. It is definitely a connected journey.
Yes. Sisterhood is so healing to me. You guys don't get it. I'm going through a rough patch with my biological sister. So I think sometimes these restorative relationships, it means so much to me. I'm stalking you guys online. I like everything. I'm a fan of all of your work. Just know that I'm your stalking friend online.
You don't have to stalk me. I'm a vet.
Thank you. Thank you. Can you put your socials? I'm following now in this meeting chat.
I gotta work on the social media, but I'm gonna put what I got.
And what
I'll say
I'm
for
just
me-
reminded that we're never alone. Oh, I'm sorry, Princess.
No, go ahead, go ahead.
We're never alone, even if we might be, putting in the hours and it's us, right? In front of the computer, the laptop, or on the phone. We have an army of sisters and female entrepreneurs who are in this with us. Even if we don't always see each other, we're all on the journey.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's all definitely amazing thoughts, amazing thoughts. So I'm excited to see what's going to happen with everyone here. So I really like this particular game. This game is really, really cool. It's about nature's lessons about love. Because I wanted to end this with the concept of I love you. But anyway, so we go get started. Let's get started with this game here. Let me share my screen. Put it in classic mode. Make it big so you can see it. Okay, everybody join.
I love Roots. I work in a school, and this is how we connected over the COVID break when we were doing Zoom. This is one of our favorite things to do.
Listen, this Kahoot thing is the bomb.
Mhm.
How did you manage to pick the Black women in finance for Sharky last round?
That's what I was.
Honestly, I didn't know.
Category?
No, this is a different category. So hopefully everybody has a little more leverage in this one because Sharky dominated that last one.
Yes. I was like, go
I
Sharky.
was trying to come for her. I was like, I'm gonna win. I'm gonna get this. I was like, all right, I can't. She got this one.
All right, so we're all in. Is everybody ready to get started?
Am I in? I think game 10 is asking me. Did I do it right? Hold on. I wanna win again. What is going on?
Yeah, I think it's me. So hold on 1 second.
Uh-oh. It says the nickname is taken. Okay, maybe it's working. I don't know. That was fun.
Okay. All right, so we'll go ahead and get started, I think, here.
Oh, the player limit was reached.
Yeah.
I thought it
That's
said
what it
20.
was. I'm sorry, who didn't get in? All right, let's see. So who's winning? 9-16. Phenomenal. All right, next question. Stacey, did you know this one?
No, you're in the South. Yeah, you're in my neck of the woods now.
Oh, all right. This one's for double points. I mean, I'm really thinking, huh? Remember, it's rated off correct answers and speed.
Oh, I didn't realize about the speed.
Urgency, Eva, urgency.
Right. I should have known.
All right, it's a couple of people who didn't answer. Yeah, get y'all guessing. Y'all got 5 seconds. Somebody really contemplated that one. Oh, Princess came from the back. Like, I got this. Ooh. Oh, Tip is like, I got it. Who's on a streak? 4 players just hit a streak, 3 in a row. Woo! Oh, y'all believe in love. All right, Tiff, you still up there. It's close. Eva's right behind you. Keisha's not too far behind either. Oh, it's already within a couple of 100 points. It's worth double points. Yes, tigers can mate with other big cats. Mm.
What was the answer? A tiger?
I'm sorry. Yes, a tiger.
Oh, okay.
All right. We have Janine that shot up to the top. She came from the back like boom. All y'all go sit down. That's what she did. Okay. So a liger is a mix of a lion and a female tiger. A liger. Interesting. Y'all ready? Here we go. Oh, they dance cheek to cheek. I have to see that. Okay, they just asking you a quiz. Who felt they learned something? I wonder if you get points for answering this right. Okay.
I just want to say that I could strongly disagree for me being so daggone fast and not reading the answer. I meant to put strongly agree.
Let's see who is the winner. In third place, we have Eva. Congratulations, Eva. Tiff is right behind you. Right on top of you, actually. And the winner is a 5 out of 7. Janine! Yay!
That was a lot of fun, Dr. Glow.
Listen, I am so excited that this has been such amazing, amazing afternoon. I want to thank you all for tuning in with us today. This has definitely been great. You will be able to find the video from this, a little bit edited and cleaned up a little bit, via my YouTube channel, Black Girl Everything. Do we have any final thoughts as I congratulate you and all bring you to the winner's circle?
I do. I have a final thought. I really appreciated this space. It's a Saturday morning. We could be doing absolutely anything, watching television in the background, but I'm extremely happy that I was invited and, partake in this very influential, inspirational Saturday morning with like.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Glow. I thought this was amazing. I'm so looking forward to staying connected with each of you outside of this space and even coming back to all things Black Girl Everything and just being able to continue to learn from you all, grow with you all, and see everyone and what your winning space looks like for you. Thanks, Dr. Glow.
Okay. Go ahead, Sarman.
Just saying yes. Thank you for saying yes and being here with us on today. And the retreat is in October. If anyone want to come and, she's still looking for speakers, you understand what I'm saying? And then share this again with a broader, bunch of women. Come on, let's go. Because last year was fun, exciting, and amazing. And this year is going to be even better. And I will be there. So let's go. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Dr. Pope, I just want to say thank you for saying yes to me when I was saying no to myself.
Mm-hmm.
I really appreciate you. You don't know how much it really warmed my heart because I thought you were going to reject me because I rejected you when you were trying to, again, I didn't believe in myself, but I want to say thank you for saying yes. And also thank you for showing up today. Thank you so much because you are grieving, you are going through something. And I hope that we were able to also fulfill your spirit and give you something today as well. And just thank you for your sacrifice. Appreciate that.
Okay. It's been great. That's it. For real. Even I want to thank you all for definitely just being present with me today and just really just sharing all this knowledge and this information. And for me, it's like connecting with people that I love that. It feeds me. It feeds me. And that's all Black Girls ever been, Black Girl Everything's ever been, was just about connecting, amazing Black women together to see what more things that we can get accomplished. So I'm just happy that I was able to connect you all within this space and you all be able to connect with me and just bring me some clarity on some things as well. Because I also learned a lot today. And I also learned who I need to call about what. This is amazing. Definitely to have those conversations. Janine?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to everyone that's here sharing their greatness. Dr. Glow knows I'm not a good public speaker. I hate speaking in front of people, but I was able to build up the courage to ask the questions that I needed to ask and actually have these conversations with you ladies. So thank you for being who you are.
I want to thank everybody for, I had so many nerves before I got on the call. You can ask Keisha, my internet, I was trying to think, there were so many reasons why I shouldn't have been here. Like, oh, I'm trying to do too much. Earth Day, my son's baseball, then jujitsu, but I am so glad. And I think what I'm looking for sometimes is like to be my full self. I'm that same one that's dolled up for the pictures and the one that's dry and crunchy and like, how y'all doing? But I'm grateful for what can be accomplished through sisterhood circles and these opportunities. So this was time.
Yes, Keisha.
Time.
I am grateful and filled, and my soul feels full today. Working with you women today, learning from you women today. I just want to give you some quick feedback, Janine. I would have never known if you did not say that you struggle with public speaking because you were so vocal, so eloquent, so engaged, right? And so I say that to you to say, show up. It's only you thinks that, how I'm seen in this world might be a different perception, because that's not the perception. You are eloquent. You are well poised. You are well versed. I encourage you to keep showing up in that.
Thank you. It's a challenge I put on myself every single day. So thank you. While my cat wants to bite me.
Your cat wants to be down. It's like, how are you having this conversation without me? No, this is definitely amazing. So everybody, thank you. I'll be sharing our parts of the chat with everybody's information so people can get in contact with each other of our social media so we can continue following. And again, share with me any events that you're doing and things you have going on. I will email them out. What's coming up next for Eva, what's coming up next for Tiffany. Tiffany, give me the links for your free workshops and stuff like that so I can share that with people, individuals, especially in this group. And that's just basically all I have today. Again, I'm just so thankful for all of you. And I just look forward to continuing to work with you in so many different levels. All right. So everybody have a great day. Princess, enjoy your daughter's performance today. See, you got 40 minutes to get there. All right. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Thank you guys.
Blessings to you all.
See you
Bye.
soon.